Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Killjoy Jake YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, so we're doing something a little different today. We're going to be going through a tier list of 2010s horror films, and I am very excited to get into it. Let me tell you, this is a very interesting time period for horror. It's a time period that some are not crazy about because I think the two big subgenres that thrived at this time were like a lot of ghost stories, a lot of art house horror, which if you're like a big slasher fan, you may not be huge on this time period, understandably so. But even with that, there are still some slasher movies that we're going to be talking about today, alongside a ton of ghost movies and a ton of art house horrors, because that's, I feel, the highlight of this time period. But first, before we get into our list, which, by the way, you guys can participate in, if you see the link that is pinned to the chat as of right now, you can hop on in there and go check it out. We'll be voting very soon. Just want to say hi to a few folks who are stopping by and saying hey with us, and then we'll be getting into this. So we got Cinepixel saying hello, hello. What's up? What's up? How are you? Welcome in. Your favorite 2010 horror movie is Halloween, It, and The Nun. Well, all three of those bad boys are on this list. And funny that, really funny thing here, just real quick, Cinepixel. I put this shirt on because obviously it is one of the very biggest horror movies from that time period. I finished up the list and I realized I didn't put It Chapter 2 on the list. So no worries, I changed that just in time because I'm like, that would be a huge mistake. Those were two of the most popular horror films like of all time. To not have those part of a 2010s horror tier list, I feel would be insane. So no worries, those are on the list. We will get to them shortly. RJ Skarenki is with us saying another great Friday tier list on the way. You're damn right. And RJ, the other fun thing is that if we make our super chat goal today, we'll do another one next week, next Friday. Probably on 2010s, probably on 2020s horror. But if we want to do something a little crazier, maybe get into some Scream characters or something a little different, maybe we'll do that. Who knows? I'll let our members pick, I think is what I'm going to do if we hit that goal today, which we might. We're going to be going for a long time today. We have a lot of movies to talk about. Paula Fitzhenry is saying hi. Hello, hello. Happy Friday, Paula. Thanks for being here. Blake Thompson is saying hi. What's up, Blake? How's it going? Sorry I said that like the Key and Peele substitute teacher. Blake, it's Balake. Come on now. Kyle Gordon, I can't read, just said, so excited to chat 2010s horror. What's up, my friend? Welcome in, welcome in. I'm excited too. This is a really interesting time period to talk about. I grew up with this decade of horror, so I'm hyped to be getting into this. Madison, I have changed it. No worries for the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well at work. Red Hood Venom, hi. Hello, hello. Johanna K is saying hello. What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Lindsay Comer. What's up, Lindsay? Welcome in. VKD, yo, yo, yo. Wes Carpenter Flicks, thanks for being a channel member. I greatly appreciate your support. Saying, woo, leaving work now, baby. Well, then you're going to have to stop on by when you get home, my friend. We'll still be talking about horrors. I think we have like 60, 70 movies to talk about today. So lots to get into, let me tell you. A few more folks, and let's get into this. We got Rooney Dave VT is saying, I hope Hereditary is going to be on it. Oh, you're damn right it is. If it wasn't for that horror movie, there would probably be no Killjoy Jake. I saw that film. It changed my life forever. I loved it. It scared the hell out of me. I was like, wow, movies are pretty cool. I should talk about them on the internet. We also got Luke Freeman saying, that's goo. That's real goo. I'll show you some. No, I'm just kidding. Luke, welcome in. Thanks for being here, my friend. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Let's get into it. So again, like I said, so we got 7 people in here already, which is really cool. There is a link at the very top of the chat right now. It'll take you to this live voting area, and you will be able to vote once I hit this play button right here on the various movies that will appear right here. Our first one is Annabelle, the spinoff to The Conjuring, which is what we'll be starting with. We'll have 90 seconds to vote, and you're going to have 5 different places that you could put these movies. Now, if you haven't seen them, I'm just going to ask that you don't vote, because sometimes people will vote just the bottom one, and I feel like that's unfair. So if you have not seen a film, you're just not going to vote, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not voting. But if you have seen the film, you're either going to put it in Devilishly Delicious, which is like a masterpiece, a 10 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10. Really solid watch, killer stuff all the way around, best from the decade. Solid screams, this is like maybe a B, maybe like an 8 or a 7 out of 10. Kind of just like really good still, but just not quite masterful. Mid, pretty self-explanatory. These are our 5 out of 10s, maybe 6s, maybe some 4s could go here too, depending. But middle of the road, could have been better, but not terrible. Could have been better. Again, self-explanatory. Just a film that wasn't great, but maybe had some redeeming qualities about it. This is where we're going to put our like 3, 4s out of 10s. And Dog Water, the bottom of the barrel. Our 1s, our 2s, our yikes kind of movies going all the way down here. So we're going to start the voting here in just a couple more minutes. We got 9 people hanging out, so hopefully we'll get some more here in a sec. Want to say hi to a few more people that are coming in. Blake saying thanks for the shout out, of course. And RJ Skarenki is saying, is Scream 4 on the list? You're damn right it is. It's the only Scream movie we have during this time period. You would be, come on now. Of course we're talking about Scream 4. That's on the list. We got some Chucky movies on the list. What else do we got franchise-wise? Final Destination 5 is on the list. Insidious, most of the Insidious movies we'll be talking about today. We have Avery and Axel Edits. What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. Appreciate you for stopping by. Hop on in, hit that link at the top of the chat, and we're going to start the voting now. We got 10 folks, so let's do this. Starting off with Annabelle from 2014. We're rocking and rolling now. You can vote as of right now. 90 seconds on the clock. How do I feel about Annabelle? It's a fun watch. I feel like it's kind of just Rosemary's Baby with extra steps. So I don't know. I don't know if I would put it in like devilishly delicious. I couldn't call this film a masterpiece, but man, I do enjoy it quite a bit. It is a lot of fun. For me personally, I think I'm going to give it like a very high mid-tier ranking is kind of at where I'm at with it. It's middle of the road. I feel like maybe that's even a little more apologetic than what this film deserves. Because I know a lot of people really do. A lot of people don't like this movie. A lot of people really hate it. I don't know, man. It's fun. There are far worse Conjuring movies, even if it is kind of just Rosemary's Babies. But like I said, with extra steps, it's a solid watch. It's whatever. I'll take it. It also has an excellent jump scare in there. Probably one of the best from the entire Conjuring universe. That stairs sequence, ooh, scares the crap out of me every time I see it. Let me tell you. It is brutal. Wes Carpenter's also throwing $5 out there. Thank you for the support, my friend. I really appreciate that. Excuse me, saying, I'll be listening in on the drive home. Be super animated, brother. Oh, I'll be super animated, all right. You won't even have to watch the screen because I'll just be screaming and saying a bunch of crazy BS. So thanks for being here, my friend. I appreciate you a ton. You're here in spirit. You may not be watching, but that's okay. You're listening in, and that's what matters. Wes Carpenter, thank you so much for the support, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the 5. I accidentally hit skip. That was not the button I wanted to press. I think I just skipped it. That's so funny. Can we go back? There's a skip button now. I did not know that. All that talk at the beginning of the stream talking about it. I skipped it. Well, fuck. Anyways, that's okay. Wes Carpenter, though, again, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you kicking off our super chat goal here. I'm still just laughing about that. Annabelle made it to mid. That's where it's landing for as of right now. Not too bad. All right, well, It Chapter 2, since it's not going to be on the list now because I don't know how to press buttons. Let's run it. Let's make it happen. It Chapter 2, a solid watch, but not as good as Chapter 1, in my humble opinion. I'm a little more apologetic towards this one, but ultimately bullying one of the biggest horror villains of all time to death, that just kind of lands you in the mid category for me personally. There is some really good stuff about this, some really good redeeming qualities. I actually really like a ton of the adult versions of the kid characters from the first movie here. But overall, I don't know. It's kind of just fine. It's kind of just a middle of the road sequel that I just wish had been done better. A lot of the stuff I really like about this movie is only because I like the first one, I feel, too. Some great scares, kids getting eaten and all that, again, but it was all stuff that was done very well in the first one, too. The whole scene with the little girl under the bleachers or whatever, it's kind of just the Georgie scene again, but with extra steps. I'm using that a lot, but it's the Georgie scene again, but you're just kind of doing it. You're playing the hits again. You're finishing out the story. You're not doing as much new here. here, like how you did with the first one, is kind of how I feel about it. So It Chapter 1, I think definitely would have been a little higher for me. I probably would have put this one in solid. I would have put that one in like solid screams. This one, more middle of the road, in my humble opinion. The jump scares were not as good as Chapter 1. Yeah, I agreed. Some of the scares are solid, but yeah, nothing as good as that first movie, I feel. All right, I'm going to make sure I don't hit the wrong button this time. There we go. Okay. Let's see what RJ is saying. It Chapter 2 is mid. A little too long. Can't wait for the new series. Yeah, new series dropping this fall, which is exciting, though. So we do have some more It on the way. And hopefully I won't skip it this time. But yes, I'm excited for Welcome to Derry. It is going to be fun. But let's talk about what's next. You're next, baby. This one is... really solid slasher. I promised you guys slashers would be on the list. It's got a really subtle but well done twist ending, in my opinion. I would put this like towards the top of solid screams. I think it is a bloody, fun slasher, has a lot of good things going for it. But overall, I don't think I would put it in like a masterpiece category. It is a very fun watch with some iconic looking animal masked killers. Lots to love about this one, but it's in mid now. That I can't argue with that too much. But I think it's a pretty fun watch. It's a pretty solid slasher from a time period when this wasn't really one of the most popular genres out there, which I think is cool. Paula's in the majority on 17% majority on it. Okay, hell yeah. Cryptic Haze is saying, where's the absolute masterpiece, The Bye Bye Man? I declined to put that one in there. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that was wrong of me not to put that one in here, but I don't know about that one, dog. Bye Bye Man, there are I put some purposefully not great movies in here though, because I couldn't just put all movies I liked. So you will see Slender Man and the first Ouija film on today's list. But I was really trying to go for like what was the most popular one, so that we didn't have any ones that people were like, I've never even heard of this before. What the hell's going on? At least these are mostly some of the more popular hits of the time period. I tried to get some weirder ones in there, but mostly ones that were recognizable. Bye Bye Man. Does everyone even know about the Bye Bye Man? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe they do, and I'm just crazy. It could be that. Could be one of those situations. Avery is saying devilish for that one. Hey, I can't argue with that. It's a very fun film. I love the twist in Your Next as well. Some killer twist ending in there that's done really in a really subtle way. The way this one kicks off too, I feel like is a lot of fun. But that one made it. What, man? All these entries are going to mid. That's brutal. Brutal so far. Overworked Human, what's going on, my friend? Saying, gave us one of the best 2010s final girls. Oh, I totally agree. Totally forgot about talking about Erin there. She is insanely resourceful and a total badass throughout. So that, I couldn't agree more. She's kind of the big twist that the killers weren't expecting to get themselves into. It's cool. It's a really cool final girl. I agree. That's a very good point about that film. It deserves a little more than mid, in my opinion. VHS, though. Oh, man, this is a fun one. I don't love it as much as other VHS fans do, I will say. I think it has a few stinkers in there, unlike some of the other sequels. But overall, I think it's a really fun watch. There is some really good stuff happening in this movie. There's like three skits that are phenomenal. So for me personally, this is going to be a solid. I think there are... I don't know. I feel like some of the sequels just did it better, personally. Like, I think I've had a lot of comments on my VHS videos saying, oh, man, the best one's the original and nothing tops it. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, there's some good ones in here, some solid ones, but there's a few misses. Ty West's segment in particular was kind of a big miss for me personally. But Radio Silences and David Bruckner's, some big standouts there. I really like the one about the girl with like the tracker in her arm who's seeing all the ghosts. That's an underrated one. The wraparound also not great for this movie. It's lots of hits and misses in the first couple VHS flicks, in my humble opinion. But I still do really like this one. I think one of the best segments of the entire franchise is in this movie, without a doubt. If it's with the harpy girl at the very beginning to kick this one off. So lots to love about the original VHS, but I just don't think I would put it in devilishly delicious. I don't think we're quite there with this list. Could have been better. That's a little low. in my opinion. That's kind of wild. RJ Skarenka, everyone's talking about the Bye Bye Man. I think I messed up not putting that in here. We call him the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man around here, though. That movie's not very good, but it was shot here in Cleveland, Ohio, so I got to give it some points. What can I say? Cryptic Haze is saying The Nun reminds me of a shittier version of Nosferatu, but with no vampire. That would be no fun. That would be absolutely no fun. RJ's favorite VHS films are 99 and 85. Great choices, my friend. Some excellent watches there. Faith Dorn is joining us as well. What's up? What's up? Hey, Jake. Hey, chat. Hope everybody is having a great Friday. Same to you, Faith. Hop on in the voting thing if you want. Again, if you're just joining us, go to the very top of the voting poll here. We got ourselves a little link. You can stop on in and participate and vote in this poll. This is a you decide kind of tier list live stream, so it's that kind of vibe tonight. And speaking of which, here's one that I feel like this is going to be our first dog water VHS viral. What is, in my opinion, easily my least favorite of the entire VHS franchise. Mostly bombs, not a whole. There's one segment that I would argue is maybe even a little worth your time. Man, this is a major stinker in an otherwise fantastic franchise, which I think is such a bummer. But VHS viral, not my cup of tea. Wow, we are unanimous on this one. 6 votes for dog water. That's wild. We got it. Could have been better though. Okay. But yeah, a pretty rough movie in a it kind of killed the franchise for a little while too. That's how you know something's not fantastic. But I was not crazy about VHS viral. Even when I was really into the franchise, watching all these movies for the first time, I just remember being like, what happened with that last one? That's brutal. First 2 are pretty damn great, but this one is a bit of a bit rough around the edges. The punk skaters beating the crap out of the skeleton people. I don't know. That one I just wasn't crazy about that one. Bunch of jerk characters and not a very good, not great monsters at the end. The wraparound doesn't make any sense at all. And the first one's not even found footage, kind of. Like, it's arguably found footage. The first segment with the Dante the Great, the magician one. There's a point of it where you're like, who's actually filming this? Like, no one's in this. Everyone else is dead in this room. Who could have possibly been shooting this entire little conversation happening at the end here? But just a rough film, unfortunately, in a pretty good franchise. We got who's hanging out with us? Just Jess. What's up, Jess? I think we're gonna play some Repo tomorrow on the gaming channel. If you wanna stop on by, we'll shoot some messages out this afternoon. But it would be fun to get a Repo stream in. It's been far too long. But Jess, I hope you're having a great day. It's Friday, baby. Let's go. Cinepixel is saying, Jake, it's okay. You have too many movies to keep, so it's okay to not include the Bye Bye Man. I didn't figure too many people would miss it, and I'm actually kind of bummed that people would have wanted that. That's I think that's actually kind of sick. So it does bum me out a little bit. If I would have known there was so much love for the Bye Bye Man, I would have thrown it in there. We got Jab hanging out with us too, saying, hi, Jake. Do you have any interest in movies taking place in the 2000s or 2010s? Yes, I think that there's a lot of nostalgia for especially the 2000s right now. I think it wouldn't be the craziest thing to set movies or horror flicks in that time period. I actually think that'd be really cool if we start doing more of that. Like we've had like 80s and now 90s nostalgia. Why not do some 2000s nostalgia? Like I'm totally down for that at some point coming up here soon. I feel like we're ready for that. I feel like we're finally at that point that we could do 2000s nostalgia. Maybe not yet for 2010s. Maybe not. 2010s are still fairly recent, so maybe another decade or two before we get to that. But 2000s nostalgia, I feel like we're finally at that point where we can where we can do some stuff like that. A lot of the movies we're talking about here right now, still very modern flicks. Flamingo Productions is saying, hi there, Killjoy, my man. What's up, Flamingo? How are you? Welcome in. Thanks for hanging out. Come vote. Come play this bizarre game with us. And one more new folk hanging out is Gory Tiger. What is up? What is up? Why is that tiger gory today? What animal is it ripping through, getting covered in blood? I would like to know. Anyways. Next movie, VHS 2, one of the best from the VHS franchise. Someone's saying dog water. That's you know what, devilishly delicious just because of that. That's crazy. This is one of the best VHS movies in my humble opinion. I'm at the point with this movie where I like all the segments except the wraparound. But man, I think this is one of the best. This is a top 3 VHS movie without a doubt. We have an 8th installment coming out this fall. I am so excited for it. And I just cannot wait to see what else comes from this franchise. But VHS 2, I feel like it's just always going to be one of the best from the series. This is a banger across the board. I love the cult segment where the dude explodes into blood and then a demon like comes out of a pregnant lady's baby, out of her belly, I mean to say. I guess the demon would be the baby, right? That is brutal. I love everything going on in this movie, especially that segment. That one's awesome. The one that's really grown on me is the alien segment at the end, which they recently made a full-length feature film out of called Kids vs. Aliens, and I think I have a bigger affinity for it nowadays. Since that I saw the full-length version of what this short film was supposed to be. But man, lots of fun stuff happening in VHS 2. And the zombie one. I almost forgot. The found footage zombie one from the perspective of the zombie is awesome. Dog water? Man, that's wild. Oh, that one breaks my heart. We got VHS 2 in dog water. That's it. The VHS franchise is not looking good today, ladies and gents. That is brutal. Last minute too got sent to the bottom. That's crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there. Ty Lee, thanks for the $10, man. I really appreciate the support. Saying please forgive me for being late. That's okay, Ty. No worries. Thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the page. I appreciate you a bunch, man. Let us hop in the voting poll, man. Hop on in. The VHS franchise just got decimated here, so we definitely need some votes. We need some participants for sure. So again, if you want to vote in this chat with us or just hang out, again, no pressure either way. The link is at the top of the chat. Click that link and then you can stop on in. And Ty, I totally agree. The zombie segment in VHS 2 is great. It's phenomenal. I think that's one of my personal favorites from this entire franchise, without a doubt. Movie buff guy is not a fan of the VHS flicks, though. Well, I guess you were one of the dog water votes. I'm not judging you. I'm just sad. I'm just a disappointed VHS fan. That's all. No worries. Anyways, let's get into Us from Jordan Peele, his sophomore feature, a slept-on movie, in my humble opinion. I feel like everyone's like, Get Out was so good, but Us sucked. I just disagree with that. I really like both of these movies. I think Get Out is a better film, but Us, I think conceptually, I just might even like it a little more. This is just barely a devilishly delicious for me personally. It feels the most like just straight up horror from Jordan Peele, if that makes sense. And I think that's why I vibe with it. It's got like this sci-fi edge to it too, especially once we get into that third act that is so much fun. It's gross, it's outrageous, it's a little silly at times too, especially when you have Tim Heidecker playing an evil version of himself. It's hard not to laugh at that. I mean, come on, especially if you're a Tim and Eric fan. There's definitely some silly parts of this movie that I feel like are actually intentional. But Us, it is a vibey movie. It's a great California horror flick, and I just love it to death. This is a really fun, very Spielbergian inspired horror flick from Mr. Peele. So I love it quite a bit. Us totally rocks. I'm so glad it's at the top of the list here. That's sick. Ty was not crazy about this one. He puts it in mid. Life of Fonz is saying Us, solid screams. Hell yeah, rock on. Jess is saying the only VHS that I know are the kinds that go in a VCR. Jess, those movies aren't even that scary. I feel like you could stomach them. They are a little gross though, and you threw up watching the movie Fresh, so maybe not. They're a little gross. They can get gross. Cinepixel saying Us is mid. Brutal, man. Some people hate franchises. I don't know about that. But yeah, Us being in the top category, it's hard for me to disagree with that. Rock on, rock on, rock on. I like that. I like where that's going. The Witch. Ooh, baby. Okay, this is one I don't know where it's gonna go. This is an interesting one. The Witch is a movie that I've really only sat through a few times. I feel like it's a tough watch, but it is a very rewarding one at that. It's a little bit of a curve to get past the dialect our characters are speaking in. It's a little tough. Makes it kind of a tough watch. This is not one I would put on if you're just kind of tired at the end of the night, just need something to watch. This has got to be a very focused sit down, maybe don't even have any snacks, just lock into this movie. But man, it's a rewarding horror film, and it is probably one of the best period pieces just ever made, even outside of the realm of horror, because of the attention to detail. So you gotta love The Witch. I think it's still to this day one of Anya Taylor-Joy's best performances. I'm going devilishly delicious. I think this is a just as basically the devil fucking says in this movie, wouldst thou love to live deliciously? Come on now. I'm putting it towards the top of the list, though, I guess is my point. The Witch is solid, is what Ty Lee is saying. Life of Fonz is saying that Nope has become my favorite Peele film over time, man. I can't argue with that. Nope is excellent. Nope is a really good watch. In terms of Robert Eggers films, though, I feel like The Witch is the one, again, probably the one I've seen the least, but I feel like there's an argument to say it is his best. It really is, in terms of attention to detail, one of the absolute best from his catalog. It is a tough watch. I mean, it's a tough one to sit through, but it's incredibly impressive. Performances are great across the board. Some brutal shit happening in this movie too. Even actually within the first 10 minutes, there's some insane shit happening here. Some awful things happens to a baby with a pretty subtle cut that I thought was really well done in this film. Life of Fonz is saying devilishly delicious. My fave Eggers film. It's so slow, but I'm really okay with this atmosphere, and it keeps me reeled in. I do agree with that. It does it keeps you engaged enough to vibe with it. It's just you got to watch it with subtitles. It's a tough watch, but it's a rewarding watch. Actually getting through this one. Not everything can be a fun little Scream movie, right? I mean, I feel like that's kind of how I feel about The Witch. But I'm glad it's towards the top. It's definitely one of the best from the 2010s. This is one that I have a weird love for. The Visit. Found footage is such an interesting genre in that it is usually like trying to be a little more grounded and serious, scary kind of vibes to it. But The Visit is a movie that leans so much more into the comedy of a situation like this. And I think that's what makes this one stand out so much to me. It gets maybe a little too goofy at times, I have to say. But in terms of M. Night Shyamalan's late career, which has been pretty hit or miss, this is a bigger hit for me personally. So I'm going to go solid screams for this one. I love The Visit. I think it cracks me up every time I see it, especially the diaper scene. That's all I'm going to say. That made me want to throw up the first time I saw it. Oh my God. And I think everyone remembers that scene from the trailer that played like a million times. Which I think is one of the most iconic parts where she tells the little girl to get in the oven. I mean, we all remember that. we all remember that. Come on now. Ty is saying there's no haven't seen option. I haven't seen The Visit yet. I would say if you haven't seen it, just don't vote. I feel like that's the rule of thumb that we're going to go with. Because I don't know. I feel like that makes a little more sense in my brain versus just having an option to vote for. That's just haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen this one, then just don't vote. That's what I'm going to say. I tried to put the most popular movies from the time period here, so hopefully you have seen them. Will is with us too, saying The Visit is awesome. Hell yes, I agree. This one's a ton of fun. You guessed the twist in the first 10 minutes. Brutal, dude. I honestly didn't see it coming until a little later on, but I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was a fun one. Could have been better, but entertaining nonetheless. It is a very entertaining film. It's goofy, but I have a good time. I always have a good time with this one. You're saying Yahtzee? What's up, Orion? Welcome in. Welcome in. Richard. RJ Skaranki is saying The Visit is dog water. Brutal, dude. Brutal, Richard. That's wild. It's fun. I don't know. I'm glad it's in solid screams, but I understand not being crazy about that one. Silly found footage might not be for everybody. The Ritual, this is one of my favorite David Bruckner movies. I like it quite a bit. It is a very fun watch. This one is a little more, very similar to The Witch in a lot of ways. It's got like a woodland folklore vibe to it a little bit. It's got some crazy monsters running around, especially in the back half. It has some really terrifying moments. Just some really cool stuff happening here. I think one of the better Netflix horror movies too, which are not typically all that great, but I will say it is a little slow like The Witch and maybe a little slightly less rewarding for that. So I'm going to put it personally in solid screams because I think there's a lot of really cool shit in here, but I think I like The Witch just a little more. Very similar films, similar watches. I really like this one of my favorites from David Bruckner without a doubt. But I don't think it quite makes Devilishly Delicious for me. Pat and Jester, how's it going? You just got here. I wonder why your next is in the mid category. I wonder why too. This list is not going how I expected it to. It's wild that the entire VHS franchise from this time period is at the bottom, baby, which is like kind of insane to me. And your next is in mid, which was another one I wasn't expecting. I feel like this is a pretty popular slasher crowd. I thought that one would move way higher up than where it is. But yeah, this is the list so far. You never know what's going to happen, and that always has me so excited about these public lists. So just to see all the different kinds of opinions coming in, it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is also just most votes. Average vote in my list are obviously going to be very different. We'll examine that at the end of the stream. Flamingo is saying, I heard that this film was a heavy influence for Bambi: The Reckoning. I could totally see that. Yeah, The Ritual definitely, in the way it's shot especially, I could totally see that influencing Bambi. Well, here's a familiar face. The very first Terrifier. Love me some Art the Clown, baby. But I will say, I think this is my least favorite Art the Clown feature-length film. Well, I think I like it better than All Hallows Eve, but in terms of the Terrifier movies, I think this is my least favorite. I don't think I would quite put it in Devilishly Delicious like I would the other two. I'm gonna this one just barely cracks solid screams for me because it's Art the Clown doing his thing. But man, if the killer was slightly less interesting in this movie, I just don't know if I would love it as much. But I will say the kills are brutal. The characters are basically non-existent in terms of character development. But man, you gotta love David Howard Thornton doing his thing here, man. He is figuring out this character as this movie goes along, and that is what is one of the most fun things about watching this movie, revisiting it all these years later. It is still a very good watch. It is just barely solid screams for me personally. I could see putting this one in mid. What else is going on? We got Binge with Nick saying, are you going to Fantastic Fest? Shelby Oak, big opening. I don't know. I haven't looked into all of that. I heard about Fantastic Fest. I don't know where it is this. I don't know where it's happening. I got to look into all that. We're still pretty broke after moving into a new place here. I'm in a brand new apartment, as you can see from the tiny set behind me. I know I got a little window down at the bottom left of the screen right now, but yeah, we're still just trying to recover from moving into a new place. So I'm just I'm just saving up, trying to make things happen here. That's why we're going to be going absolutely banana sandwich with the channels, I should say. Also, GullGotha, please subscribe, because we're just trying to recover. Spent a lot of money getting into this place this year, and it's just it's been pretty chaotic, pretty chaotic making all that happen. I would love to go to Fantastic Fest and cover that though. A few movies are premiering there. Shelby Oaks. Isn't Brian Bertino's new film premiering there too? Is that what I was reading? I'm really excited for that. That looks like fun. But I would love to make it out there. It's in Houston. Yeah, it's and it's sold out. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I'm definitely not making it there. But I will be covering Shelby Oaks when it drops in October for sure. Terrifier was a proof of concept, says Will. It clearly worked. It did. It did clearly work. I'm glad it is where it is. But it's rough. I think it's more of an advertisement for Art the Clown than it is a feature-length film, and I think that's kind of my vibe with it. Paul is not a fan of the Bambi movie. Jess has thrown out the link to GullGotha. Again, please subscribe if you have not. That would mean the world to me. Kyle Gordon is saying the scene hanging upside down, cut up. Wow, yeah, that was brutal, wasn't it? That was that's still one of Art's best kills to this day, I would say. Nick is saying that VHS Halloween is premiering there. Oh, man, I would fly out to Houston just to see that movie early. I really would. I love that franchise that much. Patton is saying solid screams for me. The first Terrifier is nowhere near as good as 2 and 3 are, but Art the Clown is still being Art the Clown in his first feature-length movie. I agree. It's still fun to see Art just doing his thing, having a fun time. I can't argue with that. Love me some Art. I'm glad he is where he is. There we go. That's our one little Art the Clown representation on today's stream. So at least he got up there pretty high. That's pretty cool. We got another one from M. Night Shyamalan, Split. This is a pretty solid one. I honestly don't like this one as much as The Visit, which might be a hot take. But in terms of tone, very similar. Kind of high concept horror films with a slightly goofy edge to them. I'm going to go mid with this one. Performance is pretty solid across the board. James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy are doing a pretty good job in this one. I don't know. I don't know if I find it all too scary. Sometimes there are times where the silliness can water down a lot of the more horror elements to this movie that I just don't know if I was crazy about all that much. I don't know if this one worked for me 100% of the time, but it's definitely not awful. Like I would not go I would give this like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Split is a solid watch. I think definitely another one of the better ones from M. Night Shyamalan's late career, where he's had a lot of stinkers in the last 15 years. I think he's had a lot of rough movies. This is not one of those. So I'll give him that. For sure, give him that. Reign of Horror is hanging out with us. What is up? What is up? Welcome in. Welcome in. You got to know about James McAvoy after seeing him in It Chapter 2. We've talked about James twice now. I just realized that. You're right. He is in It Chapter 2. With a little more hair than in this movie. Davey is saying, hey, everyone. Happy Friday, y'all. What's up? What's up, Davey? How's it going? How are you and your death ray? Let us know. What's up? What's up? Split is probably M. Night Shyamalan's best movie. Patton Jester, that's a hot take, my friend, but I like it. I like it nonetheless. Nothing beats his like first 3 for me. If it's The Sixth Sense, why can't I think of these? Unbreakable and Signs, like those are like nothing beats that from his catalog for me personally. Really love those 3. I feel like he came out the gate with like 3 banging movies and kind of just does whatever he wants, like beyond. After that, he was just like, you know what? I've proven myself. I'm just going to do all these weird batshit movies. Fuck it. But I've been enjoying some of the batshit movies. I actually really liked Trap. It was nonsensical and just dumb fun, but man, did I had a good time with it. I can't say that about the majority of his late career releases. But this is a movie that I surprisingly had a good time with, that I kind of... this is a bad movie, but I like it. I don't know how to explain it, but Slender Man is dumb fun. It is a dumb movie. I feel like it was unfinished the first time I saw it. The first time I saw this movie, I just was like, there's no way that was actually a finished film. Slender Man is rough, but it is still a ton of fun. I'm gonna go dog water, but like a positive dog water, if that makes sense. Like this is a fun dog water film. Dog water, I would gladly lap up. Someone went devilishly delicious. You're chaos, whoever did that. I like it. Hookshot God is saying, can't believe you got VHS 2 at the bottom. That bums me out just as much as it bums you out, dude. That's one of my favorite movies on the list so far. That's probably, I'm not even kidding, that's probably the movie on the list I've seen the most. VHS is a film it's a franchise I'm obsessed with, and VHS 2 I think is one of the best. Ghostface is hanging out with us too, saying The Village is a banger too, though. That is so true. I forgot about The Village. That's, probably one of his best twist endings outside of the 3 films, out of his like first 3. The Village is a really good twist. I like that movie quite a bit. Davey is saying, dang, did Tearmaker up their game? I love the percentages and the ability to have people vote. Yeah, this is a new thing. Mad shout out to the Night Watch Zone for pointing this out to me. I never knew this was, you could do like a live version of this, which is sick. It's kind of fun that you can like have other people participate, which is nice. I didn't know about this until very recently, so I think it's fun. I feel like live streams, what I'd like to do on my streams is have like the audience kind of participate, and this is a really fun way to do it, man. So lots of fun, lots of good things happening here. Papa Be Poppin' is saying Lady in the Water too. I just don't like Lady in the Water. I wish I did. It comes off as a little pretentious to me. But if you like it, rock on, my friend. Just kind of didn't do it for me. And we have to kind of just hit the pause button here. Slender Man isn't devilishly delicious. I think this is yet again another upset. Wow. Rotten Tomatoes might not have been good to this movie, but this goddamn tier list was. The glaze for Slender Man is unbelievable. Wow, what a surprise big hitter to be in the top 3 right now. Did not see that one coming either. Sinister is up next though. This to me is the best Blumhouse movie, and I say that with absolutely no hyperbole. I love this movie to death. It is terrifying. I think it has one of the best villains in all of Blumhouse's history. I wish they would do more with this franchise. I understand that a lot of people didn't like that original sequel, but man, I don't think there's no better franchise underneath Blumhouse's belt right now that they could revive better than this one. Sinister could totally use a good sequel at some point in the future. Would love to see that come from maybe Scott Derrickson, if he's not too busy with the Black Phone after Black Phone 2 wraps up. If this I don't know, Black Phone 2 might be a huge hit and ends up skyrocketing to a trilogy. That would be kind of sick, but I would love to see him do a third Sinister film next. Honestly, I think that would be a ton of fun. But I love this movie. Has one of the best jump scares of all time. Really cool villain, great cast, great direction. So much to love about Sinister. Some brutal shit here. King Matthew III, what is up, my friend? Saying, what's up, Jake? How are you doing today? Sorry I'm late. It's all good. I'm fantastic. You just got home from work? Rock on, my friend. Well, stop on in. Let's vote on horror movies. We still have a fuck ton to go through. So you might be late, but we've only gotten through 15 of 60 movies, my friend. Paula is saying, I love it. It's very easy once you figure out the color coding system for... I don't know what you're talking about. Sinister is devilishly delicious. Great horror movie. I totally agree. I showed this one to my parents a year ago, and they were terrified. They never knew about this movie. They were asking me about Blumhouse movies, and I'm like, have you ever seen Sinister? And they're like, no. I showed them that. They were like, dude, that's the best one. No way. So it was cool to show that to them. I just thought about that. Papa Be Poppin' is saying, it feels like an individually new fairy tale, Lady in the Water. However, every M. Night flick feels pretentious. I mean, I can't argue with that. I definitely don't fault people for disliking it, though. I'm quite self-aware in a hot take. You know, Papa, I can't argue. He's got a lot of pretentious movies, so I can't argue with that at all. There's a lot of stuff from him where I'm just like, dude. Man, a lot of stuff from him makes me roll my eyes. But so good point. I can't argue with that. Davey is saying Sinister is a modern classic. I totally agree. It's so funny. Blumhouse goes to HHN and never brings Sinister anyway. Kind of crazy. Again, I can't stress it enough. I think one of their very best movies. And speaking of one of my very favorites from a franchise, we have Scream 4, baby. This is probably my favorite Scream sequel to date. It is has one of the best twists out of any of the sequels, some decent characters across the board, and just some brutal kills as well. So I don't know, not much to complain about here. Also, I just feel like Scream 4 is the best meta horror commentary out of like basically any of the films, really. Like, I think the first one did it the best, but Scream 4, it's so ahead of its time about the whole, trying to get famous, doing anything to get famous on the internet. It's a devilishly delicious for me. It's one of my favorite slashers from this time period. I love it. Scream 4 is my little baby. This one's top of the list for me personally. Will Russell is saying where to put Scream 4. I wonder where Scream 4 is going to go. I know how much the folks around here love Scream, so I think this one's a top in the list. Ghostface is saying no way Scream 4 isn't devilishly delicious. Well, this is the only Scream movie on today's list, so it better get up there. That's all I'm saying. I would be upset. Would be upset for sure. Mr. Arrowverse is saying Scream 4 could have been better. Brutal. You're clearly not voting could have been better, though. What's going on with that? What's going on with that, Mr. Arrowverse? Get in here. Got to vote. Make your voice heard, my friend. The kills in Scream 4 are great, but the thing is, Scream 4 is not great. It is better than Scream 3, but it could have been better. But why, though? Why do you feel that way? Hit me with it. You like the kills, but you don't like something else about the film. I'm curious what you don't like. Let me know. Gina, my chunky Jordy, you've been a member for 26 months. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. Saying, don't forget to send the like button some love, people, please. Yeah, definitely hit it. Definitely rub up on that like button. Why not? Why not do that? It would be kind of fun. Nothing wrong with that. But Gina, thank you for being a member for that long. That means the world to me. Really, really thank you for the support. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being on the stream. It's a Friday. It's time to have fun and talk about horror movies, and I'm glad you can join us. Well, Scream 4 is almost taking the gold here, ladies and gentlemen, which is kind of crazy in terms of most votes. Us is still king. Us is still at number 1, but Scream 4 took the silver in second place, which is so interesting. Love to see it. Mr. Arrowverse is saying the twist is not great. One of the killers I don't like is a actor or actress. Well, Mr. Arrowverse, every time you throw something out there, I have a new question. Which one do you not like? Because you said actor, actress. You're so mysterious, Mr. Arrowverse. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued about your Scream 4 opinion now. Which killer don't you like? I'm so curious. If you want to stay mysterious, that's okay. But all your answers are a little cryptic, and it has me interested. I'm like, oh well, now I want to know more. Blake Thompson, I love this, saying Judy's lemon squares are devilishly delicious. Oh yeah. They may taste like ass according to Gil Weathers, but goddamn, I'd get in on that lemon square. What did I just say that out loud? Mr. Arrowverse does not like Emma Roberts. Ah, man, brutal. Well, fair enough. I just love Jill personally. I think that kind of blew my mind the first time I saw it. I also think I'm very nostalgic for 4 because it was my first Scream movie. It was my number my number 1. First time I ever saw that. What else is going on? Will is saying also Scream 4 was fine, just had terrible marketing, especially in the UK. Yes, it did have terrible marketing. I will give you that. Enzo is hanging out with us. What's up, Enzo? We're collaborating sometime very soon. What's up, dude? You're saying I can't believe VHS 1 and 2 are that low. Those are some of my favorite horror films. Enzo, we got to talk about VHS next Friday when we collaborate, because I am so with you on that. I love the VHS franchise a ton. Viral deserves to be down there, but 1 and 2, I don't know about that. We'll talk some VHS sometime soon, but I agree. I wish those two I'm pretty sad about. I got to be honest. Maybe the biggest disappointments of this list so far. And then somehow Slender Man made it to Devilishly Delicious. So this is an insane list. We're loving it. We're cracking up about all this so far. But again, if you want to join us, there's a link at the top of that little chat right here, so you can participate as well. Make your voice heard. Because now we're on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think that this might be a hot take. I think a lot of people really like this movie. I was a little disappointed with this film. It has some great monsters and some great little scary moments. But man, it feels like it just kind of feels like we took a bunch of the monsters and pieced them together in this like very, very loose and inconsequential narrative. I just was not crazy about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, honestly. I'm gonna say could have been better with this one. I can't call it dog water because I think the monsters are way too cool to throw it that low. But man, I don't know, just was not crazy about this one. Great soundtrack, great monsters. Was not crazy about the story or the characters, and that to me is like that's your foundation when it comes to a really good horror film. And I don't know, this one just didn't do it for me. I see a lot of people throwing love out for this movie. It's got some great October vibes. I think if you want another good like October horror movie, this is definitely a pretty solid watch. But I don't know, man. It was like a 3-4 out of 10 for me personally. Jose is saying VHS 2025. Yes, I'm so excited for VHS Halloween. It is going to be a ton of fun. So hyped up for that one for sure, Jose. Let me know if you're excited for it too. October 3rd, baby. We're all going to be watching it, and I will be posting a probably very excited review. Let's be honest. Ghostface is saying the short story novella for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark will always have a place in my heart. I agree. I love the books. That was one of my first like big things in terms of horror was reading those creepy stories with all the pictures. That was awesome. I like the books a ton. The movie, I don't know. It was cool seeing those monsters be brought, put to the screen, but the story itself didn't really do a whole lot for me, unfortunately. What else is going on here? We got what other movies are on here? If you click on the link up there, you'll be able to see what other movies we got. I'll kind of just scroll down for a second. We got a ton of 2010s horror flicks still to come, still to go through. And I think it's randomly putting them up on screen. I think we're just getting random movies. Because I don't think it's been in any sort of alphabetical order, unless maybe it's going backwards. I don't know. Because we had an Annabelle movie already. Yeah, we had Annabelle and Terrifier VHS. Well, The Visit. Maybe it's going backwards. I think it's going backwards in terms of alphabetical. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna figure it out though. Binge with Nick was saying 10 out of 10 for scary stories to tell in the dark. All right, rock on, dude. Rock on, rock on. Samantha also liked this movie. Very nice. Welcome in, Samantha. Marley Kai, yo, yo, yo. Welcome in, welcome in. Heard the guy that directed this movie is also directing the new Bendy film. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, rock on, rock on. Well, let's move into this. Ready or Not. Maybe one of my favorites from Radio Silence across the board. I actually think this is my number one from all of Radio Silence's catalog. A killer little kind of slasher flick. I feel like it's more of like a slight comedy edge psychological thriller. I love this movie. I'm gonna put Devilishly Delicious. Screw it. This is probably one of the better films from Samara Weaving's catalog as well. Has a really cool concept. A lot of crazy deaths, explosive deaths, I should say. Great setting too. Love the old school like manor setting for this one. Kind of makes it feel like it has a little bit of like a Vincent Price vibe to it. But some really, really fun stuff happening in Ready or Not. This is one of my favorite horror films of 2019. Was this 2019? This is 2019, yeah. Capping off the decade here before we got into the 2020s. But a ton of fun with this movie. Love it quite a bit. Papa B. Poppin is also saying Mayhem and Guns Akimbo over 2 days. Samara Weaving trilogy. Wow, you watched all three of those in 2 days? That's wild. I love it. She's been in a lot of good horror movies, dude. So much good stuff from her, without a doubt. But I think this might be my favorite one. I like Mayhem, though. Mayhem's underrated. Does not get enough love. That was a really good watch. Crazy concept for a movie. Ready or Not was a very good movie, says Movie Buff Guy. I liked it quite a bit. And it's always cool to see Samara Weaving be a badass. Oh, and I almost forgot about the nail scene. I feel like, listen, a lot of movies have done the nail scene, but I feel like ever since Ready or Not did the nail through the hand, every movie since has like had a nail sequence in it. I feel like every year beyond Ready or Not, like there's some kind of nail going through a hand, a foot, or something. If it's X, if it's The Strangers Chapter 1, there was another movie like a couple of months ago, I swear to God, had a nail scene in it. I'm like, okay. Oh, Imaginary with the nail scene. I'm like, y'all are all doing the same damn nail scene. We can really give that credit all the way back to Hellraiser, let's be honest. But Ready or Not specifically, I feel like that scene really hit with a lot of people, and then it's been in like fucking everything throughout the 2020s. Pat and Jester fucking love this movie. Favorite Samara Weaving movie. The ending where everybody just exploded was just absolutely awesome. Not to mention Samara is so hot. No arguments across the board there. Hell yes. Paranormal Activity 4. Moving into this one. Wow, this is an interesting one. I feel like this is a little underrated. It is not the best sequel by any means, but I don't think it's bad. I think it has some pretty good scares, even if there is some goofy stuff happening in this movie. I'm going mid, personally. It's also a very early Catherine Newton performance. She's a bit of a scream queen nowadays, but back, when this movie came out, she wasn't as well known. And honestly, if it wasn't for this movie, you likely wouldn't have seen her in Freaky, also from Christopher Landon. So I really like the Paranormal Activity sequels. I think they're really fun. I have a soft spot for this one. It might be one of the goofier sequels for sure. I feel like 4 and 5 get a little sillier than the previous two, but there's still a lot to love about this movie. Still some cool stuff happening here that I think is fun. Some good jump scares. There's one jump scare at the end where Katie just kind of pops up behind her boyfriend or whatever and just like starts. I think she just like breaks his neck or something. That was so dumb. That was such a dumb scene, dude. But I loved it. Paranormal Activity 4. It's a goofy watch. Movie buff guy is saying PA4 is mid. These movies got worse and worse, but the actress in Paranormal Activity 4, yeah, that's again a very big highlight of this movie is Catherine Newton starring in this one. I think PA4 is the only one I haven't seen. Oh, Ty Lee, man, you kind of got to see this one. Like, again, no one is calling this the best sequel, but there is some interesting stuff happening in it. And again, I think it has one of the best leads of the entire franchise. And I feel like that's saying something. So Catherine Newton in that movie is a big standout across the entire franchise, in my humble opinion. Samantha got some candy corn today. Rock on. It's that time period now, isn't it? We're like kind of halfway through August, so it's about time for candy corn and all the Halloween crazy stuff. Spirit Halloween is open now too, so we established this on the channel a few weeks ago. Once Spirit Halloween opens, that means spooky season is on, baby. So it's time to get spooky, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Pat and Jester with a hot take here. The Paranormal Activity movies are pure garbage. How anyone could actually enjoy these movies is beyond me. I don't know. I have a weird affinity for them. I love them so much. I love even the bad ones. They kind of crack me up, and they kind of just startle me. They don't scare me. Let me make that so clear. I like the startling though. We would see these movies in the theater, and just like everybody would jump, and it was fucking hilarious. So I have so many good memories with these movies. Maybe it's the nostalgia talking, but I always have a good time revisiting these ones. Ty Lee is saying I'll watch it. I have the whole collection, might as well. I bought the box set a little while ago. This was one that I had to own. Paranormal Activity 3, there's an argument to say that this is one of the very best of the entire franchise. It's a sort of a period piece. We're going back to the 80s with this one. It's one of the most different Paranormal Activity films. Really cool way to end this original trilogy. I like it. I like it better than 4 for sure. I'm going solid screams with this movie personally. Yo, movie buff guy, thank you for the $20, man. I really appreciate the support. Saying, hi, Jack. Hope your day is going great. Killboy Jack here is having a great day. Movie buff guy, you just made it so much better. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting the page, man. I really hope you're digging the tier list streams. Would love to do more of these at some point in the future, for sure. So thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $20 is crazy, dude. Thank you. Thank you for that. Flamingo is saying, I think I only know this movie because The Simpsons did a parody of this. Oh, that's funny. I don't even think I saw that, honestly. I was getting into The Simpsons a little more. That was oddly enough, that was an animated show I never watched. And I remember I watched a little bit of the first 10 seasons. I skipped around that for honestly, there was a few weeks back a couple of months ago where I was just going through those first couple seasons of The Simpsons. And I'm just like, oh my God, every other animated show ripped this off. I never understood that bit for the longest time. Every other animated show has made a joke about ripping off The Simpsons. If it's South Park doing an entire episode on it, or Family Guy constantly making jokes about how they're literally just ripping off The Simpsons because they are. Oh my God, man! I didn't realize how bad it was until I watched those first 10-ish seasons of that show. I had watched some of the later seasons growing up in the 2000s when it kind of started to dip in quality a little bit. But man, the first 10-ish seasons of that show are actually masterful. Old school Simpsons is so good. Wow. I didn't realize how good it was until recently, but I'm a huge The Simpsons fan now. Gaz is saying Evil Dead 2013 better be on this list. Oh, you know it is. That is one of my all-time favorites. It had to be on the list. Come on now. MT is laughing their fucking ass off. What's up? What's up? Welcome in, dude. Samantha's telling me to stock up on some candy corn at Dollar General. Rock on. Okay. I'll have to look into it. I have to check that out. There's a Treehouse of Horror segment on Paranormal Activity. Okay. Very cool. I'll have to watch that. That'll be fun. Paranormal Activity 2. This is my personal favorite of the sequels for Paranormal Activity. I've watched this one far too many times. I really like that it coincides with the story from one in a really bizarre and unique way. This is such an interesting way to do a sequel, to kind of build an entire movie around the first one. This is not a film that happens immediately after one. It, like, most of it is a prequel, and then like the back half of it is the actual sequel, which I think is so cool. A really inventive and creative way to world build. That I don't know. I'm gonna go so far as to say devilishly delicious. That might be a hot take, but Paranormal Activity 2 is a very special sequel. You don't get this much of a thought out sequel with most franchises, and that's why I'm gonna glaze it a little bit. I'm putting all that glaze on this donut, baby. So I love Paranormal Activity 2. A very thought out, very interesting sequel that I kind of wish we got more. I wish we got more sequels like this that were crazy ambitious, but actually worked with the tone of the original and the built off of the story of an original movie so much like this one. There's so many sequels that are like, we're just going to do the same thing again, but we're in our own way. And Paranormal Activity 2 just makes the story from the first movie even bigger, which I thought was cool. Movie buff guy is saying, my bad, I'm dyslexic. I'm just joking, man. I thought you were just, you can make fun of me all you want. I don't care. It's all good. No worries, my friend. Dude, I just really appreciate the support, man. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for the support. Thanks for throwing out something like that, man. Really helps the page quite a bit. Cinepixel, yeah, Catherine Newton, yeah, she unfortunately was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's probably her worst credit. Let's just be real here. The other movies she's in, much better. Lisa Frankenstein, I recommend that one. Slightly a bit of a hidden gem. What's another? Yeah, Freaky, also great. She's going to be in Ready or Not too, interestingly enough. So lots of good stuff from Catherine Newton for sure. Now, I want to clarify this because I probably should have gotten a better poster for this. This is the Ouija sequel. This is Ouija 2 specifically, before we vote. I just want to make that so clear, because if you've seen the two Ouija movies, maybe you agree with this, maybe you don't, but I think they're night and day in terms of quality. The first Ouija was like I don't even care. That was a super forgettable Blumhouse kind of horror flick with just some jump scares, some lousy characters, and a predictable plot. The sequel, however, which is this one, done by Mr. Mike Flanagan, is a criminally underrated sequel that is in every single way better than the original. I fucking love this movie. I saw it, like, I didn't see it in theaters because I did not like the first one that much. And then I saw this on streaming like years later, and it blew me away. Like, it actually blew me away so much I went out and bought the whole franchise, like 1 and 2. I'm like, okay, I got to rewatch the first one and then watch this movie again because that was so good. But Ouija Origins of Evil, just so good. Such a better sequel than the first movie. It has some great scares. I'm going solid screams. Not the best from Mr. Mike Flanagan. I'm not going to call this one of his best movies, but goddamn, it's good. It is a really, really fun watch. One of the moments that I realized this guy is onto something. I think he's one of those directors that has the Midas touch. He has just made some excellent movies in his career. So much good stuff has come from this guy. And I think this is one of those things. I also just love Annalise Basso, who's in this movie, an actress who is in a ton of things, but no one knows her name. I feel is like a really unfortunate way to describe her. She kind of leads this movie. She rocks. I think she's a killer actress. She's in a ton of Mike Flanagan stuff too. And she kills it every single time I see her in something. So Annalise Basso, man, big shout out. I'm a fan. What can I say? I'm a big fan. Way better than the first, says Samantha. I agree. Totally agree. But yeah, no, this is a really good watch. I think we're about to get into the first movie if we're going in order. And then another Mike Flanagan movie after that, Oculus. But yeah, the first movie, I don't know, man. Something just, it's just very generic. It's a very generic, like, this is exactly what I'd expect about a movie called Ouija. It's just kind of boring. I don't know. Wow, I can't believe this one's going all the way to the top, man. We're just a whole lot of shocks here. Will is saying we all forgot about the first Ouija movie. Well, we can't forget about it now. We're voting on it, baby. Yeah, this one's mid as fuck. I'm actually going to say could have been better. I'm going to go that low with it. I don't know. Ouija, this was kind of a boring, pretty forgettable movie. That is only even remotely in the conversation for this time period because of how good its sequel is, I feel. But yeah, no, just this first one could have been better, where the sequel just kind of blows me away. Some awesome stuff there. Ty Lee is saying Origin of Evil slaps so hard. It does. It's really fun, and it has some great scares to it. I might watch that tonight. Kind of feeling that one. It's been a long time since I watched that movie. I got to do a Long Legs rewatch. I want to do a by the way, if you're a channel member, I just posted a review of Fantastic Four First Steps, but I want to start doing a segment for channel members. No promises on this, but this might be something I do in the future. Revisiting movies I've already reviewed on the page that I feel differently about a year later. And Long Legs is one of those movies. I really shit on it the first time I watched it, but now I'm a little more positive on the film. I still don't like the ending, but man, there's so much to appreciate and really love about that film that I got to do a review on it, I guess is how I feel about Long Legs. I think I was a little too harsh on the film the first time. Ouija is making it to the top of the list. Devilishly delicious. Man, you never know what we're going to get with these lists. This is wild. Now we got Oculus. Mike Flanagan, one of the most ambitious in terms of concept movies. I'm going devilishly delicious with this one. Oculus fucking rocks. It's Karen Gillan in a movie about a mirror that like warps your perception, essentially. If you liked in Smile and Smile 2, when things weren't exactly as the main character thought they were, that's kind of what this whole movie is, essentially. But I believe it's from 2014, so predates Smile by quite a bit. Lots to love in this movie. I think Oculus is one of the best from Mike Flanagan personally. I don't know. I love this one. And kind of flies under the radar most times, unfortunately. Very upsetting that this one doesn't get enough love. But I don't know. Oculus, it fucking rocks in my opinion. A very good watch. Jose is saying 100. Love it, love it, love it. Picky Piggy is stopping in too. Sorry I'm late. It's all good, dude. Thanks for stopping by now. Hop on in and vote with us. If you've seen Oculus, that is. The young actress is great in it, and I like the Becky movies she did. I still haven't seen the sequel. I still haven't seen Wrath of Becky. I saw the first one. Never got around to the sequel, unfortunately. But I bet those are fun. Bet that sequel is fun, I mean to say. The first one's crazy. It's fucking intense. And I totally agree, Samantha. The ending to this movie is, it's a brutal one. It's a brutal one, but I like it. Man, not much to say about The Nun. This is, in my opinion, one of the most overrated horror films maybe of all time. It made a fuck ton of money. I just think it's dog water. I don't like it. I really tried to like this movie too. I've gone back and rewatched it multiple times. A lot of Conjuring flicks that I vibe with, but I just do not like this one. The story's bad. The jump scares don't hit. I think the only redeeming quality of this movie is Bonnie Aarons as the nun, doing a pretty damn good job. I got to give her that, but whew, yikes. I don't know. This one is at the bottom of the barrel for dog water for me currently. Pat and Jester is saying the only Mike Flanagan thing I've seen is Haunting of Hill House, Fall of the House of Usher, both fantastic Netflix shows. Oh, you got to see his movies. There's a couple on this list between Ouija, Oculus. Hush is coming up, which is, I think, one of his absolute best. He's done a lot of really good stuff. I didn't put Doctor Sleep on this list. I just realized that. Fuck. Oh, man, that's probably my favorite from Mike Flanagan, which might be a hot take, but dude, making a good sequel to The Shining, it feels like an impossible task. That's an impressive movie. Samantha saying dog water for this one. Movie buff, you love The Nun? Okay, rock on. What do you love about The Nun? Let me know. I don't want to just be up here shitting on everything. Forgive me for I have sinned. YouTube said this was a video and then just now said live. That's okay, Twisted Film. Hop on in and vote with us, baby. I'm going to let this run for a bit while we get through some of the weirder movies. Mother. This is a Darren Aronofsky movie that a lot of people feel is very pretentious, but I kind of like it. There's a scene involving a baby in this movie that fucked me up so bad the first time I saw it. I got to put it in the top spot. Like, that is one of the scariest things I've ever seen on film. So I don't know. I really like this one. I understand why people don't. It's a very simple metaphor for something that it kind of gets a little overcomplicated, but I don't know. I think it's cool. I thought it was a fun movie. I liked it. But if there's a lot of people who were like, this movie sucks, what are you talking about, Jake? Totally fair. Totally fair. What's my favorite Mike Flanagan movie? I really think Doctor Sleep. It's a sequel to The Shining based off of the book from Mr. King. I don't know. I love it. I think it's a masterpiece for what it is. It's I don't even know what I want to say about it without spoiling anything. To me, if you approached me and you're like, Jake, you got to make a sequel to The Shining, I'd be like, I can't. I'm not doing that. I'll fuck it up and ruin my career. Mike Flanagan was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to kick this thing's ass. What? I mean, dude's got some balls. That's all I got to say. So I just have so much respect for him for making that movie. That's just one of those Stephen King stories that I feel most directors wouldn't even touch with a 10-foot pole, but he did and did it very, very well. And it unfortunately bombed at the box office, which I don't understand. I truly don't. I think out of his entire career, which he's had an excellent career movie-wise, that might be his very best. Twisted Film is seeing where Slender Man is. I know. There's some major upsets on this board right now, which is pretty crazy. But but here we are. Here we are still doing it, which is nuts. But I love it, man. I'm glad that there's so much love for Dr. Sleep. I'm so sorry I didn't put it on this list. I'm just realizing now. I'm like, fuck, totally forgot about that one. You got to watch that one, though. You've definitely seen that one. Awesome movie. I dare say it's just as good as The Shining. I agree. I actually totally agree. It's good for totally different reasons, though. You know what I mean? Like, The Shining is an excellent, like, one of the best horror movies of all time. But I think I like Dr. Sleep maybe just as much, but for totally different reasons. It's a top 10 from the 2010s horror, without a doubt, but for different reasons than the original is what I'll say. Okay, Midsommar. This is one of my favorites from the 2010s. This one melted my face the first time I saw it. I think it has some of the most disturbing visuals from a horror movie, like just in general. Dear God, the lungs. That's all I'm going to say. The sequence with the lungs is one of the freakiest things I've ever seen in my fucking life. Midsommar, horrifying, has some goofy moments, sure, but I think for the most part, this is a movie that is going to wreck you emotionally and physically. I was done. I was dead to rights after I saw this movie. My sister and I had seen Hereditary, and we both loved that. We were like, okay, let's see what this guy's up to next. And we saw this movie, and we didn't even talk in the car ride home. We were just like, I don't even know. Especially after the way this one starts with a very, very brutal murder something else, which I can't say on YouTube here, but wow, just yikes. Just a yikes movie. Just a have a bad fucking time kind of movie, I feel is how I feel about this one. But I love it. I'm actually kind of sick of this movie, fun fact. I've probably seen Midsommar 20, 30 times. This was, for the longest time, I always said, if you're trying to get into like some art house weirder horror, Midsommar is such a great place to start. It's pretty fast paced and it's fun. You know what I mean? It's a fun, bad time, I feel, about this one. So this was the movie where whenever I would show people who hadn't seen a lot of movies, like a slightly deeper cut, I would always start with Midsommar. I always felt that was a good place to go. Good place to start. I'm glad it made it in the middle of Devilishly Delicious. This is a top 10 for this decade for me personally. So glad it got up there. You've seen this movie 30 plus times. Can't say I've watched many others like this one. Top 3 for me. I agree. The cliff scene was pretty intense. Yes. You hated Midsommar but loved Hereditary. That's interesting. They're very similar films, I feel. Feel they're very similar, but Hereditary is a little more of a contained story, so I can see vibing with that a little more than the scope, how big the scope of Midsommar gets. They put the girl in the poster through the ringer. Yeah. Yes. Is her name Danny? Yeah. She gets the kind of the shit kicked out of her in this one. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. This is another one that I'm a little more apologetic towards. I kind of feel the same way I feel about Paranormal Activity 4 with this one. I'm personally going mid. I think that it's silly like Paranormal Activity 4, but maybe even more goofy. And I think that's kind of why I vibe with it, weirdly enough. This one leans into the humor even more than 4, and it doesn't feel out of place. Like, this one is silly from start to finish, and I'm kind of fine with that. I'm even laughing at the fact that we're shotgunning down a bunch of nuns at at the end of this movie, which is so ridiculous. Our main character has superpowers. There's some decent jump scares throughout, and it's a little bit of a hidden gem, I feel, in the Paranormal Activity category. It's not bad. It's a fun watch. You'll notice I didn't put Ghost Dimension on this list because I don't even really want to talk about that one. There's enough Paranormal Activity on today's list. But marked ones, I think it's underrated. It deserves a second look. If it's one from the franchise you totally missed, because I know they didn't market this one all that well, give it a watch. It's solid. I agree, Ty Lee. It is a solid watch. Picky Piggy hopes that Final Destination 5 gets put on the top of the tier list. I love that movie. You know it's on today's list. Come on now. Yeah, that one's coming up very soon here, actually. We're getting to it in a minute. There it is. Yeah, okay. And it's like halfway through the rest of what we got to do, but we're we're getting there, damn it. Marked ones goes to Solid Screams. This is devilishly delicious. I don't even have to think too much about this one. Mandy is one of those movies that I feel like we don't get too often and we need more of. This is yes, I think it has some slightly goofy moments, but Mandy is a revenge film at its core. It is a stylistically super artistic masterpiece of a revenge flick too. Simple story, but very complicated and intense color palette, I think is how I would describe this one. There's some like a motorcycle gang running around that kind of looks like a bunch of Cenobites. There's a crazy Nicolas Cage performance at the center of this one. Andrea Riseborough just losing her fucking mind. I don't know, just so much to love about this movie, dude. One of Nicolas Cage's best horror films, I feel, without a doubt in my mind. Mandy is one of those movies that's more people need to watch it. And don't watch it like me on substances, because my God, that was not a good time. Not a good time. Twisted Film is saying 100% of the top tier are Dogwater, Terrifier, and The Conjuring are the only two that should be up there. Oh, brutal, man. Brutal. Brutal. What else is going on? Will is saying it's definitely better than the last straight to streaming one they did. Yeah, well, yeah, Next of Kin was something else. I liked the ending, but most of the rest of it was kind of rough. Ghost Dimension, yeah, I think that one's just bad. I'm gonna be honest. Mandy, great watch though. Lights Out. This is a criminally underrated jump scare movie. I think there's a lot of those where it's like, okay, whatever, they're very run of the mill. Lights Out's pretty good, man. I don't know. I have a fondness for this movie. I'm not going to go devilishly delicious. I'm probably going to go Solid Screams for this one. It's not the best story I've ever seen, but for David F. Sandberg, the Pony Smasher himself, for his first movie, it's pretty solid. I think the one thing that really detracts from this movie for me personally is I actually like the short film this one is based off of more than the actual movie itself. But there's a lot to love about this movie regardless. Some really cool stuff, some scary moments. The viral short film is way better though. If you've never seen the Lights Out short, you gotta look that up. It is very good. Very, very good. Jasper TV is saying, hey, what's up, Jasper? How's it going? Welcome in. Thanks for being with us. That's your second best from Nick Cage. You really like Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland is fun, but it's just a little silly at times. Just a little silly. Wes Carpenter Flicks just made it home. Hell yeah, dog. Come on in and vote. A lot of movies to vote on, that's for sure. Looks like Lights Out is just barely edging out to Solid Screams. It's edging, all right. Here we go. It still has a chance to get up there. Nope, it does not. Never mind. All right, Solid Screams. Lighthouse. Devilishly delicious, baby. This one's going to the top for me. The Lighthouse, I think, is one of my favorite. This is my favorite Robert Eggers film, I think, still to date. I loved Nosferatu, don't get me wrong, but The Lighthouse, it is both terrifying and fucking hilarious at the same time. That's a hard thing to do, I feel, with a good horror movie, man. It's really tough to have moments that are funny that doesn't wash out the terror, or vice versa. This is a movie that is effective in both of those regards, and also is a really well done period piece. I fucking love The Lighthouse. I fought tooth and nail to see this one in theaters. They were the weekend it released it. They pulled it from theaters for whatever reason in my area. I still don't know why. But I had to wait a week, and I had to drive to a very far away theater to see this one. So I fought to fucking see this movie, and it was just as good. It was very well worth the fight. So this is another top 10 from the 2010s for me personally. Love The Lighthouse. The nautical vibe, it just makes this one iconic, I feel. And the black and white with the super narrow, maybe like is it 4:3? I can't remember if that's the aspect ratio, but man, it is tight. And that's kind of how this whole movie feels. Very claustrophobic. These two characters trapped in a fucking lighthouse together, essentially. Really good stuff happening here. Love this one. Frank beats up a seagull, which is very similar to the Lighthouse, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's very funny. I really love Always Sunny. I can't wait to watch that new season. It might already be out. I haven't been keeping up on it at all. Next up is the Krampus, but I have to say, Will is saying I was so drunk when I watched The Lighthouse. I feel like that's perfect. That is so unbelievably perfect for The Lighthouse. I think you have to be sipping on something, just not turpentine like our boys here. Krampus is a movie that I am very fond of. I did a whole gigantic video essay on this over on Killjoy Jake Retro that I'll be reposting this November. I'm going to go solid for this one. I think I definitely like Trick or Treat more from Mr. Michael Dougherty. But Krampus, it's still a very fun watch with some really excellent characters. I think the thing I just don't like about Krampus is that there's technically no kills, and everyone just kind of gets captured. And I feel like that's kind of boring. I kind of wish these people were getting ripped to shreds. I think this movie would have been way more fun had it been that. But it's essentially Christmas Vacation if it were a horror movie. I feel like that's the best way to describe this one. Wish there's more blood and guts, but still a lot of fun to be had. Still some darkness in this really interesting story. But I think that's where it falls short for me, because Trick or Treat is still so brutal, even though it has some campier vibes to it. Still some brutal kills, bloody, crazy, gory moments. This movie it doesn't have that. It has some great creature designs done by the always excellent Weta Workshop. But I don't know, man. I wanted more blood and guts from Krampus. That's kind of, I feel like, this movie's biggest shortcoming. Krampus is a very good movie. It's very good. It is very good. I would not call it devilishly delicious though, but very solid watch. It looks like it's going to mid. 4 votes for mid. Totally fair. Krampus is a bit underrated. It's a lot better than people think. I agree. Good twisted fairy tale horse shit. Yeah. Yes. Before the voting can commence on this one, want to just get some final thoughts out there. Very good movie. Underrated. Twisted fairy tale horse shit. Love it. I like Krampus though. It's a good watch. And the other thing, great cast. Like seriously, if you haven't seen that movie, the cast alone is worth the watch. Adam Scott, Toni Collette, Champ Kind from Anchorman, whose name is totally slipping me. A lot of great people in that movie. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't know how people feel about It Follows. This is one of my all-time favorite horror films. I love It Follows. It is a great idea for a movie, and I think it is executed wonderfully here. Micah Monroe's best role to date, in my humble opinion. I think this movie is terrifying and also kind of brutal at times, too. And actually maybe the very best thing about it, I think this has one of the best scores for a horror movie ever. They're like one of my all-time favorite horror movie scores. It Follows, baby. It bangs. That music is terrifying, super John Carpenter inspired. This would be very much so towards the top of my personal list. I love It Follows to death. But a lot of people have said that this movie is too slow for them, and they don't. I don't know. I'm so invested and engaged with the characters. There's enough crazy shit happening in this movie that keeps me intrigued. The mystery of it all, I think, is just so well executed. Like, where the fuck did this thing come from? Why can nobody else see it? Like, I don't know. There's always some element to every sequence that's introducing a new part of the mystery that I think is great. So I've always loved It Follows. It's one of those movies that it bangs for me. Movie Buff is saying It Follows is one of my favorite horror movies. Dude, nice. I'm so with you. This is a top 10 of all time for me. I just love it. There's never a time where I'm not down to watch It Follows. I never seen a movie and was just like, I need to buy that. I need to buy that so bad. This is one I've seen a million times too. Evil Dead 2013 is also on this list, also a top 10 of all time for me. Just two movies I've watched a million times through and through that I just love. They're just great. Will is saying it's just okay in my opinion, but well directed, interested in what they do with the sequel. I am interested in the sequel. I've said this so many times. I feel like the existence of a sequel kind of ruins the ending a bit. But I'm still excited about a sequel. I can't lie. The movie does not need a sequel. It's a perfect standalone. But I'll watch it. Anyways, Insidious 2010, baby. I feel like this, if there's any like definitive horror franchise of the 2010s, it's Insidious. This is such a killer movie. We just watched it again the other night, and every time I watch this movie, I pick up something new. It is such a fun popcorn movie. Again, a very good mystery at its core. A horrifying performance from the composer of the film, Joseph Bishara, playing the lipstick demon, just the villain. I guess he's described as having an insidious agenda in the film by Elise Rayner, so kind of titular, but not really. I'll take it though. Yeah, love the lipstick demon. One of my favorite villains from this time period. Maybe one of the most iconic. I mean, that picture on the thumbnail here of him hanging out behind Patrick Wilson, that's got to be one of the most iconic images from a 2010s horror film, right? I mean, that's like, come on, that's got to be the most iconic. If I don't know, it's up there for me, but really do love Insidious quite a bit. This is such a fun movie. I'll be watching this one a million more times before it's all over. What else is going on? Blake is saying the atmosphere of It Follows is tremendously effective due to the cinematography and soundtrack. Couldn't agree more. Oh yes, Insidious at the top of our list, baby. Let's go. You know what? I'll take that. That's kind of wild, kind of a big surprise there, but I'm loving to see it. MT is saying the list is driving me a bit nutty with where some of these titles are sitting. It is a bit all over the place, isn't it? We have an average vote list and my own personal list that we'll be examining at the end of this stream, though, and I'm quite excited to get to that. So we'll see where all these rank towards the end. Movie Buff Guy. Oh, we're on to the next movie. I didn't even realize that. Well, before we get to that, just real quick, finishing our thoughts on Insidious. Movie Buff Guy is saying Insidious is a very good movie, but it just looks like Darth Maul. He does kind of look like Darth Maul. I don't mind though. I think it's got a creepy look. I love the it's like the ox feet or whatever with the fucking hooves. I love that. It's kind of gross. It's still a very, very fun design in my opinion. I actually, as much as I hated Insidious the Red Door, I think they did the design for the lipstick demon even better in that film. Kind of made him a little more of his own. It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son. Chilling line. Remember the first time I heard that. It was awesome. The jump scare in the cinema. Oh, dude, yeah. Me and my friends were just flown backwards. That was horrifying the first time we saw it. But speaking of a movie that also still has good jump scares, but maybe not as good of a story, Insidious: The Last Key. This is entry number 4. You know, I'm a little more apologetic towards this one because Insidious: The Red Door was so bad. But Last Key, what's wrong with it is that the story just isn't that great. It's a bit what's the word? It's just kind of mucking around. I feel is how with the story. They just kind of hang on plot points for a little too long. They take too long to set up certain elements that come back later. But I feel like once you get to a certain point with this movie, once Elise's niece, which is such a hard thing to say, Elise's nieces. Once one of Elise's nieces gets possessed by our key demon here, I feel like the movie goes into overdrive. But the first half of this one is kind of slow and boring, I'm going to be honest. Although I will say Specs kills a man in this movie, which is like, again, just kind of shocking. Just one of those things where I'm like, oh, Lee Winnell kills somebody in this franchise. All right. That's kind of not that's more of a Saw vibe, not so much Insidious. That's shocking, but overall, I'm gonna go mid with this one. I'm glad that it's making its way up to solid Screams though, because I will say, criticisms aside, this has one of the best jump scares in the entire Insidious franchise, with Elise looking through a bunch of like luggage of kidnapped victims, and then finally the fucking key demon bounces out of that thing. Ooh. Really messed me up the first time I saw that. That was awesome. Insidious 3, this is my personal favorite sequel in the Insidious franchise. I think one is my top, that's number 1 from the 5 movies so far. Insidious Chapter 3, this is number 2. The first of the prequels, Insidious Chapter 3, I feel its big strengths are the fact that it's got a more solid story than some of the other sequels out there. And I actually kind of like some of the new characters. Dermot Mulroney actually giving a little more of a grounded performance than what people know him as now from Scream 6, in the face of horror, I should say. I also love Quinn Brenner. I think she's a really good lead. I'm felt very strong about this main character throughout the film, who gets the shit absolutely kicked out of her throughout this movie. I'm gonna go solid Screams for this one personally. It's I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a masterpiece. Still some very campy, corny things happening here, but man, the jump scares are good. The characters are decent. And I really like the way this one starts off. This one has a really strong opening sequence, I feel. Really nice way to settle us back into Insidious with the way this one starts, which is cool. Also, another big thing about this one is that it's Leigh Whannell's directorial debut, the first movie he ever directed. He wrote the first 4 Insidious flicks, but he actually directed this one, which I think is really cool. James Wan, of course, directed the first 2, and then he kind of takes over with this movie, which is sick. So I really love Insidious 3. I think it's a really, really fun watch, kind of underrated from Leigh Whannell's entire catalog too. Definitely not his best, but underrated is what I'll say about it. Insidious is one of my best theater experiences. I couldn't agree more. I'm so with you on that. I had such a great time watching. I think I've seen all 5 of these movies in theaters now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because I totally saw 4. I think I saw 3. Why do I not remember seeing 3 in theaters? I swear I saw it in theaters. I know I saw 1 and 2 with friends in high school. Trying to think if I saw 3. That was a weird time when that one came out. That was like 2017, 2016, one of those years. I can't remember. Solid movie, though. I'm glad it is where it is. Insidious Chapter 2, this is a movie I've really come around to. Didn't love it for a long time, but man, we rewatched it recently, and this one's fucking awesome. James Wan just has a certain vibe to how he directs movies. And that's very present here in Insidious Chapter 2. A little bit of a weirder concept for an Insidious flick. I actually feel this one swings for the fences a little more than maybe any of the other Insidious movies. But it works for me, man. It's a fun watch. It's certainly better than 5. It's certainly better than 5 and 4. Insidious Chapter 2, it's my bronze medal for the franchise. It's a fun one. It's nice seeing the Lambert family again, kind of wrapping up that story too. I just don't like it as much as 3. I don't know. I think Patrick Wilson being this evil little goofball at the end doesn't work for me all the time, but it's cool. It's cool to explore throughout this movie for sure. Will loves Insidious 3. He acted better in this than Scream 6. I mean, for sure. Dermot's definitely better in Insidious 3 than Scream 6. Blake is saying I saw Insidious 3 in the theater, and it was one of my favorite theater experiences, mostly due to the jump scares. I totally agree. That's why I'm very fond of at least the first 4 Insidiouses. They got me pretty good with those jumps, man. Those were fucking intense. Very insane. Chapter 2 is your favorite of the franchise, says Movie Buff Guy. It's, I respect it for being as ambitious as it is, mostly focusing on an entity really coming here to the real world. That was cool. That was actually really well done. It stands out probably the most from the entire Insidious catalog. I have a much bigger respect for it too. The cinematography is done so well in Insidious Chapter 2. Something I kind of missed the first time I watched it, but man, watching that movie again, I'm like, these are some crazy James Wan. James Wan loves doing crazy shit with the camera, and there's so much of that in Insidious Chapter 2, which I don't know. I just must have missed that in previous watches. Hush, this is one of the best Mike Flanagan films, without a fucking doubt. This is going to Devilishly Delicious for me. Again, not a ton of slasher representation on the board right now, but this one, it's kind of one of those movies that I feel like more people need to see. It is about a deaf woman played by is her name Kate Siegel? I always forget what her name is. But this is Mike Flanagan's wife, who also helped write this movie. She plays a deaf woman who is stalked by a slasher late at night, and it is such an interesting cat and mouse. Really fucking good. Oh my god, this is such an excellent movie for me personally. I really love this one quite a bit. It's slow burn thriller more than like a slasher, but definitely has those elements to it that I think make it really something special. Hush is a great movie. Hush gets a double D for me. Brutal. Double D, brutal. Austin Allman is joining us too, saying when Patrick Wilson got bonked with the teapot, I was screaming in the theater. Yeah, that is pretty funny. You gotta love that. That's wild. Paul is still hanging out with us. What's up? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. I'm good, Picky Piggy. Thanks for being with us today. Making sure the stream is still up. I think the stream is crashing on my end. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully y'all are still here. I'm gonna pause the voting just for like literally 2 seconds. I'm so sorry, everybody. Just want to make sure everything's going okay. Want to make sure we're still live. We are still live. Rock and roll, rock and roll. Mike Flanagan is great at casting in his movies. Oh my God, yes. Oh, I couldn't agree more. Hush has got a great cast. Most of his movies do, though. Hereditary, this is one of my favorite flicks from the entire decade. Probably another top 10 from the 2010s. Right there. This is the movie. I saw this film and I was like, wow, horror movies are so fucking cool. I should start a channel about horror films. I like them so much. So this one holds a very special place in my heart. Without this movie, I don't know if I'd be sitting here doing all this crazy shit right now. So this was the movie that pushed me to do it. And I'm glad that I went out of my way to rock and roll with this one. I think this is the most like horror movie of Ari Aster's catalog so far from his insane 4-movie catalog. It feels like a kind of a not stereotypical horror movie, but it feels a little more down to earth horror than some of his other shit and how weird it gets. And I think that one, it makes this one a little more of a digestible watch, but it is dark. I mean, you cannot escape how dark this movie is. It kind of floors you within the first 30 minutes. Hail Paimon, says Samantha. Rock on with that. I love Hereditary so much. It fucks me up, and it is taking the top spot on this list, which is kind of crazy. I'm loving that. Very good and very funny. I agree, Movie Buff Guy. I think this one does have some really silly moments too, but it is also, it will tear you to shreds emotionally. I was upset when, what happens within the first 30 minutes happens. Yikes. Toni Collette should have been nominated for this movie. I couldn't agree more. That dinner table scene deserved an Oscar. Okay, before we go any further, hang on. Everyone pause for 2 seconds. I don't want to hear this in the chat. I don't want if somebody says Hell House LLC, most underrated found footage movie ever, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm just kidding. No, I make that joke because Hell House is one of those movies that, yes, was underrated at a certain point, but now everybody fucking knows about Hell House. There's 4 sequels. It's not underrated anymore. I do love this movie. I do like it. But oh my man, for the longest time, if you ever asked somebody, hey, I need a good found footage movie, the answer was always, oh, dude, you gotta watch Hell House. Crazy underrated. Nobody's seen it. Everyone's seen it now. It's not a hidden gem anymore, I promise, but it's good. It's a very good film. I think it's one of the best of the Hell House series too. I think it's my favorite so far. And I'm excited to see this new one that's coming out later on this month. So I think it's next week, right? Hell House 5, Lineage. Comes out in a week here, which is exciting. I'm just joking. If you want to call Hell House underrated, that's totally fine. But I just remember for the longest time, I was in a lot of different found footage group chats, and like so many people were like, dude, underrated. Gotta watch this movie. And I'm like, I've seen it 3 times. I know. I know it's good. But I like this. I like this one. I wouldn't put it in devilishly delicious, but I'd put it in solid screams. It's got some really good scares. It does a really good job at building up a very creepy mystery throughout the entire watch time. A lot of fun stuff. Austin is saying this one's overrated in his opinion. Brutal, dude. Brutal. I mean, I don't think it's, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. So I think maybe this one gets glazed a little bit too much sometimes, but it's fun. It's a fun watch. Is Hell House a Halloween themed series? Yes, it's about a haunted house. They try to construct a haunted house in like a real, actual haunted place, and things go very wrong for the people running the show. It's interesting. It's very similar to another movie, kind of similar to another movie on this list called Haunt, which is a similar idea but done differently. Sorry, I'm cursed is saying, nah, you're right, man. Yeah, I always get up on my soapbox when Hell House gets brought up, so apologies on that. I love this film, but I don't think it's I don't know. It's okay. It's a solid watch. Hell House is kind of mess. Seen it, done it, kind of movie. I mean, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I feel like when this one came out though, it was a little fresh. Now maybe not as much, but I feel ya. Fat Dog Fan is saying hi. What's up, dude? Welcome in. It's slightly overrated now. Yeah, you know, maybe it is. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe I just feel it's a little overrated. It's good, but chill. But chill out, man. It's got some scary shit. But Haunt, I actually like this movie maybe even slightly more, but still solid screams for me personally. This is more so like haunted house, but there's people actually trying to kill you in there. It's not as paranormal as Hell House, but I like this movie quite a bit. Really great watch from same people that brought us A Quiet Place, Beck and Woods, Scott Beck, Brian Woods. This is one of my favorites from their entire catalog. I think Heretic might be number 1, but I think this is like such a great. This one's got a little more rewatch value than Heretic, I feel. So I may, you know what? This is my number 1. Fuck it. This is my number 1 from their catalog, personally. Haunt's fun. Really cool October horror movie. Definitely put it on. This one's a hidden gem. Picky Piggy was just asking about this one. You throw it up there. Throw it up there. Hell House Lake of Fire is nuts, but I stuck through it till the end. That was a tough one for me. I really wanted to like 2 and that's 3, right? Lake of Fire is 3. I really wanted to like 2 and 3. I don't know, man. There was some goofy shit happening in those movies. I liked the 4th one was pretty sick though. 4th one kind of feels like it goes back to the feel of the original film a little more. Where 2 and 3 get a little more like documentary style horror. I don't know if that worked for me. I think it was a good balance in the first one and the 4th movie, but it was a little much in the next one. Haunt is going to solid screams. Totally fair. Halloween 2018, baby. Again, more slasher representation. This was a top 10 theater experience for me, man. People were clapping at the end, going absolutely ham. I'm not going to mention that. But I loved this movie quite a bit. Really good theater experience for me. And I still like this one today. This is probably my favorite Halloween sequel. I'm going to go Devilishly Delicious. Really good watch. Has some insane it has some insane moments. But I think it has some of Michael's best kills. I think this one's shot very well. I don't know, from David Gordon Green's catalog of horror movies, I think this is probably my favorite too. And that's not really saying much, but I like this one. I like this one quite a bit. I understand why people don't like it too. But I don't know. I would rather take the peanut butter on my penis dialogue than whatever the fuck is happening in the Rob Zombie movies. That's just me personally, though. I don't know. Some people prefer that over this. I just don't get it. This is much more of a digestible watch than the hellbilly vibes in Rob Zombie that can feel really out of place for a Halloween film at times. But I like this one. This one's fun. It's a good watch. Sorry, I'm Cursed loves this one. Picky Piggy, love it. Lori deserves a double D alone. Samantha, is that a negative thing to you? Or devilishly delicious? I gotcha. I'm like, to me that sounds like a bad thing, but what do I know? Devilishly delicious, rock on. was like, Double D, wait, what? Devilishly Delicious. I just figured that out. That's really funny. We got Grave Encounters up next. This is one of my all-time favorite found footage movies. I think this is such a scary film, dealing with the concept of a labyrinth where it's like something you can't escape, but it's also filled with ghosts trying to basically kill you. This is just a really scary concept of a movie. It's so much more than just people basically going into a scary place and finding real ghosts. I feel like it takes a couple of steps beyond that. And I love Grave Encounters. It's a devilishly delicious. It's a top 10 from the probably from the decade. This is probably lower on the top 10 for me personally. Like this is like my 9th or 8th pick in my top 10, but it's up there. I really like this one. Such a soft spot for Grave Encounters movies. Yeah, and 2 is pretty fun too. I think the first one's definitely the best, but 2's got some really good stuff going on in it as well. Halloween 2018 is a very good movie. Agreed. Fat Dog Fan is saying, are you looking forward to Hell House Lineage releasing next week? I am. I will definitely be covering that one on the page. Really hyped. I don't know if I'm going to have time to cover Jimmy and Stiggs this weekend. I'm really going to try. I will absolutely. I have a Terrifier video in the works. That should be going up this weekend. If I have time, I'll definitely be covering that new Jimmy and Stiggs. But yes, I definitely want to cover Hell House for sure. That will be my Friday video next week. Is this the asylum one? Yeah, they go into an asylum and then like they can't escape. And there's a bunch of ghosts coming after them. Labyrinth meaning like it's just that they enter somewhere and they can't leave. It's a kind of like a maze that just never ends, essentially. Grave Encounters 2, I've said this before and I'll say it again. This was such a huge influence on me when it came to Red Right Hand. I loved the concept for this sequel. I love the idea of somebody who is like this very like anal film bro kind of vibe who is like, I don't know, I don't know about all this. We're going to go investigate it for ourselves. Main character of this one is kind of, you love him because you hate him kind of vibe. He's annoying, but it's interesting to follow and see where it goes next. Grave Encounters 2, it's a cool idea for a sequel. I don't like it quite as much as the first one, but still very well executed. And also our boy from Final Destination Bloodlines is the star of this one. Eric from Bloodlines stars in this movie. So if you want to see more with him, who obviously was such a darling in Bloodlines, I definitely recommend this one. Maybe not as good as the first Grave Encounters, but still a very good watch. I put it up there. I put it up there for sure. It's going to the could have been better catalog. The 4 votes for that. I mean, that's fair enough. I think the concept for this is not as well done maybe as the original. It gets a little goofy at times, but man, it still has some freaking scary moments throughout, which is nice. I think the introduction of a character you hate even more than some of the people in the original one, I think is kind of cool too. I kind of vibed with that in this one. He was a lovable, not so great character, which is interesting to me. A little sympathetic. Another Hell House is releasing next week. Yes. We have a new one. It's not found footage. That's kind of the big thing about this one that makes it stand out. It is not a found footage movie, but in a found footage franchise. So I'm curious to see how they approach this one, see what happens with it. We'll see though. We will see for sure. I hope it's good. I hope it bangs. The next one up is, I think, one of my absolute favorites from the decade. It's Get Out from Jordan Peele. This is just one of those, like, I think this is one of those movies where we're just going to be talking about it for forever, man. Like, it's just, it did something so fresh with the horror genre, getting into what it gets into. I don't know, man. This is just, it's one of those special horror films. We're going to be talking about it for years and years and years to come. It has influenced horror so much in the last, like, however long it's been around, 2017. So that's like, is that 8 years? Yeah. There's so many horror movies that exist because of this movie. If you didn't have Get Out, I don't even know what horror would look like right now. I doubt we'd have something like Sinners or just Jordan Peele's incredible horror back half of his career, where he started with comedy moving into horror now. You just wouldn't have that without Get Out. I mean, obviously Us and Nope were very good too, but this is like, this was the movie that just pushed the needle for him so much. Love this movie to death. Totally deserves a top spot here. New Hell House is getting really good reviews. I can't wait to watch it myself. It's going to be fun. I could not get a screener for this one, though. I emailed the folks, and they wouldn't give me a screener, unfortunately. I hope VHS Halloween comes out on DVD. It will. Oh, it will eventually, for sure. Froggy Fresh is saying, just got out of Together and loved it. Do you know who played You-Know-Who at the end? I feel like that's a really good question. I don't know. Someone said Timothy Chalamet, and I thought that was really funny. That's not true, but I thought that was just a really funny comment I got about that movie. If you like Get Out, watch Skeleton Key. I love Skeleton Key. I know exactly what you're talking about. Killer movie for sure. Get Out is Jordan Peele's best film. I can't argue with that. I think Nope is my personal favorite, but Us and like all three of his movies, I think there's an argument for all of them. I think all three you could argue are his best. Get Out is an excellent movie, though. It's fucking crazy. Lots of fun stuff there. Final Destination 5. I think this is one of my favorite Final Destination movies. Just because it's our only Final Destination on the list, I'm going to glaze it a little bit, go all the way to the top, baby. FD5, you gotta love it. The twist ending here is so unique. It's one of the only films in this franchise to do the thing that it did right at the end, which I think makes it special. I like the idea of the coworkers going after each other too. That really reinvents this sequel, makes it something different. Not just the same old as all the other movies that came before it. The concept of having to kill the other characters in order to gain their lifespan too, I think is really fun. Would love to see that explored a little more in a future sequel. Bloodlines made a joke about that, which I thought was cool, but mostly glazed over it. I just keep using that word. I got to stop. Mostly glossed over it. There we go. So I would love to see. I would love to see more of the ideas in Final Destination 5 explored in more sequels in the future. I think that would be really fun. Fat Dog is asking what movie I'm the most excited for in the TCU. Definitely Pinocchio Unstrung. I am hyped up for that. But honestly, Pooh, Blood and Honey 3 sounds really good as well. So Blood and Honey 3 and Pinocchio, I think, are the ones I'm the most excited for. Cannot wait for both of those. Those are going to be fun. 5 gets a double D just for the twist. I totally agree. That twist, man, launches it to the top. Nope is better than Get Out, says Infinite Sky. I think I liked Nope more than Get Out, but man, I understand if you're somebody who likes Get Out the most. You wouldn't have something as great as Nope or Us without Get Out. Evil Dead 2013, top of the list for me personally. I would throw this one all the way at the top. This is one of the most brutal horror films I have ever seen. It scarred me at a young age. My God. I love this film to death. It is just one of those movies that I feel it's perfect. I don't have a single issue with it. It's got 5 great characters. It's a small, contained story that is done excellently. The addiction commentary here is really nice. The body horror is amazing. Mia is one of the most underrated final girls of all time. Just across the board, everything about this movie works for me. I love it. It's my favorite Evil Dead film, even though you gotta respect the classics. But man, it's Fede Alvarez's best film. I don't know if he's ever gonna do better than this for me personally, but goddamn, I loved it. This is just, it's awesome. Jane Levy's so good in this movie. Her performance alone, I think, makes this one such a big win for the genre and for the franchise. I love the concept of just doing like these small little pocket stories in Evil Dead that this movie introduces. It's very ahead of its time. It's very brutal. It's everything you could possibly want from a modern Evil Dead, and I love it to death. But gotta love this movie. So much good stuff is happening in this one, for sure. This would be probably my top pick out of everything we've talked about so far. I love it so much. Anna Faris and Regina Hall are coming back for Scary Movie 6. Yes, that just got confirmed today. I talked a little bit about it in a new little short video, but yes, I was so hyped about that update. So exciting. So much exciting stuff there for sure. Don't Breathe from 2016. This is Fede's follow-up to Evil Dead, which I think is really cool. But I also love this movie. I don't think I like it quite as much as Evil Dead 2013, but goddamn is it good. It's a solid Screams for me. That turkey baster full of semen was really gross. I did not like that. And I think that's why I like this movie so much. It was gross. It's mostly more of a thriller, which I think is awesome. Very, very high tension, very over the top. Just a really well done film overall. getting into the idea of, what if you broke into the wrong fucking house, basically. That's the horrors of this one. You have characters on both sides of the lines, both protagonist and antagonist, who are kind of morally questionable, but you kind of understand it from both sides, I feel, which is interesting. Not really from both sides. I lied about that. The blind man sucks balls. He's an asshole. But it's a movie that I feel, what I'm trying to say, makes you it's a movie that makes you question who you should be rooting for a lot of the time until you get to a certain point. And I think that's kind of interesting, because you're like, well, these guys are breaking into his house, but then you learn who this dude is, and it's like, oh shit. Whoa, that's crazy. So making characters morally questionable, I think, is really interesting. And this one does that really well. I love Don't Breathe. I even like the weird sequel. What's up next? We got Curse of Chucky. Oh, gotta love Curse of Chucky, man. This is probably my favorite late Chucky movie. I like this one quite a bit. I wouldn't quite go devilishly delicious, but man, it is a very solid scream. I think what I like about this one is that it's grounded enough to work, and it has some really nice setups to some insane payoffs. If it's the bowl of chili with the poison in it, you don't know who's going to get it, and it's the way they shoot it makes it look like Russian roulette, which is very cool. And Infinite Sky, how do you vote? If you click on the link at the top of the chat right now, it'll take you to a place where you can vote on all these things as they're rolling in real time, and you'll be able to vote. So we got currently 40 people participating, which is sick. But come on in, come on in and vote. Make it happen. What else is going on? Mandy Jean is saying, "What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Come vote. Vote in the thing with us. So where do these movies rank for you?" We only got 5 votes on Curse of Chucky. I feel not too many people have seen this one. I think if you want a good Chucky property and you were disappointed with the show like me, you got to watch this. I feel like Curse it's a really good watch. I think personally for me, it's the last like real great Chucky thing that we got in the franchise. I liked Cult too, which we're about to talk about here. Cult is fun. It kind of is starting to get into the problems I have with the show. It just gets a little too outrageous. I'm personally going to go mid, because I don't think it's bad. It's just not great. Gets a little too insane with some of the kills, in my opinion, and some of just the concepts that are explored here. But overall, still a very fun watch, a very nice follow-up to Curse of Chucky for sure. I think I preferred a little more. There's a little bit of sophistication in Curse of Chucky that I liked that is kind of lost here. This one is much more focused on the crazy kills that Chucky is able to get in multiple bodies and all the weird shit like that. But it's a solid follow-up. It's a solid follow-up to Curse. But I'd put it in mid, personally. Taft Studio, what's going on, dude? Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for hanging out with us. So solid screams for Curse and mid for Cult. I'd agree with that. I'm with you. That one kind of serious Chucky movie. That's what I like about it. I don't know. It kind of Curse of Chucky feels like the original trilogy to me. Like the original Child's Play trilogy has like a little more trying to, take itself a little seriously, but it's kind of unintentionally funny at times. That's what I like about the original Child's Play trilogy. I think that's kind of fun to me. It almost has like a so bad it's good vibe that I really can fuck around with. And then Curse kind of hits on that a little bit. Bride and Seed are just kind of like just straight up goofy movies, which I can hang out with that. I can do that, but something about the original trilogy that maybe just works even more for me. I know I'm in the minority there. Everyone loves Bride of Chucky so much. Creep. Oh man, banger of a found footage movie. It's so minimalistic, but it still works so well. And I think that's what's so impressive about Creep to me personally. I just love that you can make this movie. I just love that like anyone could have made this movie kind of, but it's because it was these dudes doing it that it is so special and what it is. The performances drive this movie to the top for me personally. Again, it's a movie that's clearly made with like no money at all. And yet it is still just so effective because of Mark Duplass and Patrick Brice's performance here. It's literally 2 guys making this entire film basically. It's so impressive for what it is. It spawned a sequel, a TV series that has a 2nd season coming out soon. I love Creep. It is so fucking scary. I love it. A lot of good stuff here. Creep is a very good movie. Huge fan of Creep. Minimalist, but hella effective. I agree. I think it's one of those movies you'll watch and you're like, wow, I'm so impressed with how how goofy this is and yet how still scary it is at the same time. It's such a specific vibe being created by like just one guy basically, and Patrick Bryce's reactions to it too. It's so effective. I don't know. It's one of those movies that I can't believe it works for what it is. The Conjuring. Oh man, I think a lot of people could argue this is a top 10 from the decade, which would be totally fair. It's a lot of fun. I don't think it's aged that well. That's my argument about it. The jump scares are great and all. Some awesome stuff about this. You know what? Fuck it. I'll put it in devilishly delicious. First time I saw it, I was blown away. I remember. Something about this franchise I just don't have as much of a fondness for as I do with Insidious and like Sinister. It's not bad by any means, but I love Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson a lot, but I don't know if I would put this in. I don't know if it goes up that high for me. But I'm gonna just commit to devilish, maybe like the bottom of devilishly delicious for me personally. Some fun jump scares, a pretty decent story. I think it's probably the best of the bunch from the entire Conjuring universe. Conjuring is very good. The second Conjuring is the best one so far. A lot of people love Conjuring 2. I love Conjuring 2 as well. I don't know if it's. I don't know. Again, just the Conjuring movies, they're not like my absolute favorite thing. They're not terrible by any means. I just wouldn't put them up that high. They're good. They're solid for what they are. But I just feel like there are other things that are better. This is James Wan doing basically Insidious again with another studio. That's kind of how I feel about this one. I remember watching it and telling myself that too. You also have Joseph Bishara playing Bathsheba in this movie, just like how he played the Insidious demon a few years prior to this, which is funny. We got Conjuring 2 up next. I'm also going to put this one. Fuck it. I'll put this one at the top spot. Y'all convinced me. I love Conjuring 2. It's a very fun, maybe an even better story too. I can see that being the argument for why this one's better. I think I just like I think I oddly like the setting better in the first Conjuring. The creepy farmhouse is really interesting to me. I think what I like so much about this one more is the actual story itself, which is really cool. I vibe with the characters maybe even a little more in this one too. Conjuring 2 is an interesting flick. I love it. I feel like the exact opposite way as I do about the first two Insidious flicks by James Wan versus the first two Conjurings. I feel like Conjuring 2, he found ways to like make the first Conjuring better, where Insidious was like he also tried to take a big swing with Insidious 2 and not all of it worked as much for me, which is weird. But I don't know. It's a fun sequel. It's cool. Is Woman in Black on this list? It is not, but that's also a very good movie. I forgot about that one. The first two Conjuring movies have a special place in my heart as they are the first movies to actually scare me, along with Sinister and Mirrors. So devilishly delicious for sure. Rock on, man. These are really fun movies for sure. I mean, they're not bad watches by any means. So I think the Conjuring universe is just weirdly soured for me as more of the sequels have diminished in quality. You know, I think that's kind of my big thing about it. But that doesn't take away from Conjuring 1 and 2. Color Out of Space, really solid sci-fi thriller. We were just talking about it recently in a new video talking about the Pooniverse. The writer of this one, Richard Stanley, is tackling the next entry in the Winnie the Pooh franchise. I like this movie quite a bit. I'm going to go solid screams personally. It's one of my favorites from this Nicolas Cage renaissance that he's been doing all these weird indie movies. This is it's up there for me. I think Mandy's probably my favorite, but Color Out of Space, it is an awesome sci-fi horror flick with some insane gore. Oh my God. There is a sequence of this film that is so The Thing inspired, and it comes out of absolutely nowhere. I feel you're just like, what the fuck am I looking at? Color Out of Space has some absolutely outstanding visuals and brutal performances with a very, very insane ending. That's all I'm going to say. But I love this movie quite a bit. I think it's very good. Deserves some more love than what it has. Color Out of Space is mid. It seems to be the majority response to this one. 4 people saying mid. I don't know. You got to love Nicolas Cage in this role, though. He's goofy as hell here, just like how he always is. He's a little more grounded, I will say. He's playing a little more of a dad character here, but he has his moments where he can come out of the cage, you know? There's a few moments here in this one. Maybe not as much as Mandy, where he gets the scream on the toilet, but you still get a few things like that in here. Next up, we got, what is it? It's going to be Cabin in the Woods. This is a top 10 from the easy top 10 from the 2010s, in my opinion. A meta horror film. Scream fans, perk your ears up. Come on now. Very meta, and also deals with a ton of different horror villains, like a fuck ton. Maybe the most any horror film has ever dealt with, which is so interesting. Essentially, it's just a big meta take on horror in general. I feel it's kind of the idea that anything can come and attack you in a cabin in the woods, and here's why. Here's the why to it, which I think is fun. It's almost like a big explanation for every cabin in the woods horror film ever, in a weird, or just any horror movie in general, which I think is really fun. Very ambitious thriller, great idea for a movie. I just loved it so much. It's a great commentary on the genre. Yeah, it's just such a top 10. I think Scream is the #1 meta horror movie of all time. Cabin in the Woods might be #2, which is very, very, very high praise for this movie. So gotta love this one. 2010s horror is so underrated. Isn't there some good movies on this list, man? There's some really good movies across the board here, which is nuts. A lot of great stuff came out during this time period. I feel like there's something in the 2010s for everybody too. You know, I kind of, at the top of the stream, I talked about how majority of horror from this time period is like ghost stories and art house stuff. But then there's stuff like Cabin in the Woods. Then there's stuff like You're Next. You know, there's slashers, there's gory films, there's ghost stories. There's all kinds of stuff. This one is total dog water, though. I don't know who this movie is for, honestly. Black Christmas 2019 is one of those major misses. Such a shame of a franchise remake, I guess. This is more of a remake than anything. But Black Christmas 2019, it is just it's a major dog water contribution to this list, unfortunately. Just a big swing and a miss. It's a movie that was going for one thing, really trying so hard not to do what it ultimately ended up doing, but it was rushed. They didn't have enough time to make this movie. I think they made it in like 9 months, which is like super rushed from start to finish of any movie. You need like at least a year or longer, even with a slasher movie like this. I mean, my God, that's a quick turnaround. They started this at the top of 2019, I think, and then it released like that same year or something like that. It's like, dude, what? That's insane. But yeah, this one's major garbage juice. Such a forgettable Blumhouse movie, unfortunately. I have no intention of ever watching Black Christmas 2019. Yeah, you don't need to. It's very rough. My email is killjoyjake1@gmail.com. That is where I will take any business inquiries, life-a-thon. So send it my way. Let me know what all that's all about. Cabin in the Woods is so awesome. It is. Love Cabin in the Woods. An absolute banger. Someone said devilishly delicious for this movie. Rock on, dude. Okay. Respect. I've loved the original so much more, though. The Babadook. Okay, this is a movie that should be in devilishly delicious. I'm going solid Screams, man. I'm kind of burnt out on this movie. This one I'm actually so burnt out on. Like I don't even know if I'd watch it again, which I think it loses some points for that. Here's my thing about this movie. If it wasn't, this movie is the reason why we have grief stories in the modern day. I mean, the reason you hear people complaining about it now is because the Babadook was so successful. It really is a first of its kind in a lot of ways, and it is so impressive. But my God, I have seen this movie so many fucking times. This was a movie. I'm just so burnt out on this film. I don't have any interest in watching it again. I've seen this movie like 40 fucking times. So many people have recommended this movie. Everyone talked about it for the longest time after it came out in 2014. In high school, I remember in high school, this was the horror movie everybody wanted to watch. I actually snuck out of class one time with a girl and we watched this movie. That's how many times I've seen this fucking movie. But Babadook, man, it's a fun one. It's very good. It's very well done. I could see the argument for top 10 of the decade, but I am just very burnt out on it. I don't know. I actually bought it a few years back and it's collecting dust on my shelf. It's not that it's bad by any means. I'm very, very burnt out on it. I've seen it so many goddamn times. Very scary visuals in that one, though. My God. As Above, So Below. This is a top 10 found footage movie of all time for me. I'm going devilishly delicious all day, baby. This has some of the scary... You want to talk about scary visuals? This has one of the most scary, freaky, holy shit third acts I've ever seen of a found footage movie. It's right up there with something like Cloverfield. Maybe even... I'm really trying to think what else. And what else has a really good third act? Maybe Blair Witch Project. I don't know. But As Above, So Below, fucking love this movie. A great idea for a found footage flick. I don't even think it needed to be found footage, but I'm glad it is. It goes up there high. It goes real high up there for me personally. Man, I'm not quite sure what I'd put the Babadook on. I'd say solid Screams. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I love it. It's so good, but I'm kind of, I don't need to see it again. All the scary moments from it I've seen so many times already, you know? So, oh, and that's the other thing. Yeah, the child actor is pretty annoying in that movie. I forgot about that. Oh man, he's screaming throughout that entire flick. It's a lot. It's a lot. I get that people, you know, that's kind of the point, right? That's kind of he's supposed to be acting that way, but it's just a lot to rewatch a couple of times. That's what I'll say. As Above, So Below. So glad this one's making it up to the top spot, though. This is such a good watch. I love this movie. Oh, I might put this one on. This or Ouija 2 I might put on tonight in terms of movies I haven't seen in a while. God, I love As Above, So Below. Fucking great. Annabelle Creation. I have such a soft spot for this one. Madison and I, when we were first like kind of becoming friends, becoming close, this was the first movie I took her to. So this one's very, very near and dear to my heart. I love this movie quite a bit. Annabelle Creation rocks. Honestly, this is my favorite Conjuring flick, which I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I love that Miranda Otto is in this from the Lord of the Rings series. She's such a great actress, great in everything she's in. If it's this, Talk to Me, Lord of the Rings, this is a top spot for me personally. This is an easy top spot. I don't know, something about this movie I think I like the best out of all the Conjuring flicks. It's scary as fuck. Does a lot with the Annabelle demon in terms of like lore, kind of shows you like where she came from in a lot of ways. I like that. That's fun. This is the Annabelle movie I wanted. You know, the first movie I think it's good. It's cool for what it is, but this is the Annabelle side story I wanted. This is easily, in my opinion, the best Annabelle movie. And I think it has some of the scariest moments from the entire Conjuring series. I don't know. I love it. I really, this is the Conjuring film I tend to watch the most. W for not adding Serbian film to this. Dear God. Oh man. We don't need to talk about that. That film's actually just bad. Like it's just like it goes too far. You can go too far with horror, where it's just not even fun anymore. And that is the film to do that. That is the film that goes too far, let me tell you. Annabelle Comes Home. This is the last movie on our list, but ladies and gentlemen, I just think it's dumb fun. I'm going mid, but like I do watch this movie quite a bit. I think it's very funny. It's so bad it's good, in my opinion. I don't know what the fuck happened with this one, but it is silly as fuck. I don't feel like it's even really trying to be that scary. Like it just has so much goofy shit going on with its main characters. I don't know. Jump scares do not land in this movie, which I think is really unfortunate, but at least the characters are silly enough. We got McKenna Grace playing Judy Warren here, which is interesting. She may be our next Ghostface killer. Who knows? But it's a fine watch. I forgive it for being so funny. It really does make me laugh. Unlike a lot of the other Conjuring films these days where they're just kind of boring. I don't know. The Nun 2 and The Conjuring 3, I just felt they were kind of boring. This one was at least like I was having a fun time watching it because it was so bad, but some of the latest Conjuring flicks, I just felt bored with. I don't know. But Annabelle Comes Home, I'm glad I own this one. I'm a weird defender of this movie. I don't know what I can say. Movie Buff is saying you like Annabelle Comes Home better than Annabelle Creation. Hey, rock on, man. I think this is still a very fun watch, if nothing else. I don't know. I don't think the scares really hit for me personally. This is a cool live stream idea. Great stream. Just decided to join in and say hi. Well, thanks for being here, Cruel ZV. Appreciate you a ton. Thanks for being with us today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are our lists. Let's go through what basically the average votes were, because this is just most votes. This is what the most look like. Here's my list as it stands right now. So we got VHS 2 at the top, which is a major change. That's kind of what we're looking like for there. For in terms of where things went elsewhere, I as you can tell, I kind of really like the 2010s. Most things were devilishly delicious, 46%, 31% solid screams, 14% mid, which I feel like most of these movies kind of deserve. I was a little nice towards some of the other films on here. Could have been better. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Ouija, and then Dog Water, VHS Viral, Slender Man, The Nun, and Black Christmas 2019. I feel like all four of those movies kind of deserve that. I not too much I would amend about this list. I think I put I put a little too much love on some of these movies. I'd maybe move like a couple of these down to solid screams, but overall, it's just a great time period for horror that I just have such a fondness for. I grew up with this time period of horror, so what can I say? Average votes. 15% in Devilishly Delicious for Hereditary, The Conjuring, It Follows, Cabin in the Woods, Annabelle Creation, Evil Dead 2013, Halloween 2018, The Lighthouse, and Insidious. Those are really the only ones to go up there in terms of averages. Interesting. Solid Screams takes up the majority here, 54%. Wow. Majority of films go in our B category, essentially. We got Get Out. I'm not going to read all these, but yeah. A lot of movies in here that are kind of surprising, Get Out being one of them. What else is Us? Okay, Us is solid screams. That's interesting to me. Babadook is down there too. Scream 4 deserved Devilishly Delicious. Come on now. In mid, we got a few shockers. I feel like VHS 2 is one that just is like, come on, man, VHS and VHS 2 should have been higher. That's brutal. That one breaks my heart a little bit. Color Out of Space, I feel like, is better than what most people are giving it credit for too. And then The Nun and Black Christmas could have been better in terms of averages. And the only movie in Dog Water is VHS Viral. That's kind of fitting, though, I feel. I mean, come on now. That's pretty funny stuff, though. Very good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We will be live again on Monday talking about doing more of a general stream, I think. But I do appreciate you guys a ton for hanging out with us today. Thank you for everyone who supported the page. If you threw a super chat out there, if you're a member of the channel, that really goes a long way. Really helping the page just strive during some of these tougher times here as we move into an apartment. I appreciate that a ton. Please consider becoming a channel member. Go pick up some merch too. Why the heck not? But guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out. See you dudes on Monday. We'll be live on the gaming channel tomorrow. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.